There was an idea
to bring together a group of remarkable people.
To see if we could become something more.
So when they needed us, we could fight the battles
that they never could.
And now, it's time for the Quit Stalling Geekcast Avengers Endgame Recap! And this episode of the Quit Stalling Geekcast, ladies and gentlemen, is brought to you by Panel's Comic Book Coffee Bar. Oh, I don't know why the music stopped, but it's Free Comic Book Day on the first Saturday in May, May the 4th, ladies and gentlemen. May the 4th be with you. Panel's Comic Book Coffee Bar, stop by and check it out. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the Quit Stalling Geekcast Avengers Endgame Special. Oh my word, and I'm your host. My name is Herald Silvestre, and I'm welcoming you and everyone else into the Quit Stalling Media Studios studio. It's an emotional day. You're hearing it in my voice because, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about Avengers Endgame. It's going to be a spoilerific episode today. And of course, it's not all about me. I got my co-host here with me as well. Let's start off with a man his grasshoppers know as the sensei of humor. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Derek O'Brien.
Hey, so just getting myself ready for the spoilers. You know, that trailer already brought back some bad memories already. Welcome, though, everybody. I'm excited today to be here. We have a great group of guests with us today. I'm so excited. We're going to hear other opinions besides just being Juancho and Harold. Well, me and Harold usually agree with each other, so it's going to be nice to have different opinions, too. And I can't wait. And everybody chat, welcome. It's going to be fun, but yes, definitely chat. Also, let us know if you guys don't agree with us. That's awesome. We encourage it. Just explain to us why you guys might have different thoughts. But yeah, I'm excited to be here, man.
Oh, heck yes, Sensei. And of course, with me and Derek O'Brien, we've got a man who has no relation to Zoe. It's Juancho Saldana. How you doing, Juancho?
What's up? Man, you know this is a serious episode when Derek doesn't pull out the toys. I expected something. I expected smoke, a lightsaber at least. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if he pulled out the gauntlet, you know, but yeah. I'm pretty hyped for the show.
I a gauntlet. That's funny.
Pretty hyped for the show. Pretty hyped that we have guests. So maybe they actually agree with me this time, you know?
Never.
So have some... Yeah. Please. I liked Endgame. I want to be part of the group.
Well,
yeah,
of course.
Just hyped.
Oh, heck yes. And with me, Juancho, and Derek, we are welcoming back the two lovely folks from Panel's Comic Book Coffee Bar. Oh, and we lost them. What happened?
Oh
no.
Oh my god. I snapped.
Do we have him back? What? Watcher just snapped him. Oh my word.
We both did it at the same time.
Okay.
There they are.
All right. We brought you back.
We brought him back. Can we get your video, Harrison Michelle? Can we get your video?
All right, one sec.
Watch it do it again. Quick.
One sec. There we go.
All right, we got Eris and Lachelle. This is gonna be a fun episode. How you doing, Eris and Lachelle?
Hi,
we're doing great. How about yourselves?
Also, shout out to Tio because he couldn't be here, and we're very sad.
Oh, so rough.
His partner in crime.
Oh yes.
2 more videos for the memorial. Thank you. We're back.
Oh man, but But like
You were
we
part
said,
of the
we are
show.
so happy to have everyone on the show today. Derek, Juancho, and Eris in the show. Oh man, why couldn't Tio make it today? I'm curious.
He had to pick up their mom.
Yeah, see, actually, our
Aw.
family. So, yeah, he was the responsible brother and went and picked up our mother from the airport. So.
Yeah, we have more important things to do.
Someone's got to do it. Someone has got to talk about.
I don't know. I would have gone, Mom, we have to talk about Endgame, please. Take
Well,
the
we
bus.
think about- yeah.
That's what differentiates you, Juancho, a bad son, from Tio. All right. Oh my word.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, though. That's the thing. Where do we begin for today's episode? The Avengers Endgame recap. It's a support group for everyone who's seen Avengers Endgame and just don't know where to talk about it, because some people say you still can't go on social media right now. Some people are saying, don't talk to me because I haven't seen it yet. I'm waiting till the weekend. Isn't that right, Eris?
I know, I'm blown away. I can't believe it. I tried to talk to a couple people, and they're like, "Oh, I'm seeing it next Sunday." I'm like, "Oof."
At the shop?
Oh, it's the shop, and then a couple people in offices. It's the struggle's real. I can't imagine what it must be like right now. You gotta just not be on social media. You gotta uninstall it all and then just avoid the internet for at least a week.
Exactly. Delete all the
You don't
apps on your phone.
Mm-hmm.
Hashtag don't spoil Endgame, except today.
Yeah.
Except
Okay.
if you were here right now watching this show, if you're watching the Quit Song Geekcast right now, spoilers are abound, all right? So we're going to throw this up right at the very start. There's going to be a ton of spoilers. Where is that? Why isn't it playing? All right. A lot of technical difficulties on
Holy
today's show.
spoiler alert!
Thank you, Derek. Thank
There
you.
we go.
I got you. I got you covered.
Appreciate you.
I got you covered.
That was good.
I appreciate you, Derek. All right.
Fine, and you're good.
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay. So where to begin? Let's kick things off with, how do you guys feel about overall feelings at the start? Let's get these out of the way. What did you guys feel walking out of that cinema after seeing Avengers Endgame?
Oh. Dang, we're starting with that.
We're starting with that.
Who wants to unbag this first?
Let's start with Sensei, Derek. You've seen it more times than everyone else, so let's start with you.
Well, how do you begin with the end? It's kind of a weird idea if you think about it. I remember I'll just go like when I first watched it, it was kind of like Infinity War. I remember at the end of Infinity War, I kind of walked out and just like kind of to myself. That's what I usually do. I don't really say much and just kind of sit there and think like, okay, what just happened? What could be going on? I think it's kind of the same thing with Endgame. At the end, I felt very sad, but like happy sad too. You know what I mean? Kind of regathering my snot, if you will. I think most of the time I was just kind of sitting in my car, and then it kind of like all hit me like, wow, this is really probably it. Like, I mean, not it for like Marvel movies, obviously, but you know what I mean, for the original veterans, Iron Man, Cap. It's just that I think it all hit me at once. I was kind of sitting there like, damn, man, it's been a long time, man. It's been like 10 years. It's been a while, man. Even still now, it's still kind of like, usually you're like waiting for the next like trailer with the Iron Man and Captain America, but you just know it's not gonna, happen.
Exactly.
So, but yeah, I'm still felt very not depressed. I can't really think of the word that sums it all up.
You're emotional.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like in deep trance, I guess, like in a weird way. But yeah, very satisfied though.
And you get to be all choked up, man. You get like I heard your voice starting to get choked. I was like, no, not me too. Me too.
I just kind of I was at the end. I was like, you know what, Derek, we'll get over this, whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes.
But how about you, Juancho? What did you? How did you?
Oh, okay. Dude, I just kept thinking, what's next? This is the first time you're coming out of a Marvel movie without a end credit thing too. So I don't know what to expect or. Yeah, that's what I just kept thinking about that. What's next? What can I look forward to next? Like, who's gonna be the next big bad? There's no. I don't know if there's any foreshadow or anything.
Oh
Maybe
yeah.
I missed
You, right?
what?
the gamer guy that Thanos was playing with.
Oh, New Master 69.
That's right.
Oh.
That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Yeah, right? That was the cool setup.
That was the setup. That was totally the setup. New Master 69
New Master
faces off.
New Master 69.
Yeah.
Around that part though, I'd stop watching and I just tuned out a bit. I really don't like Fortnite. That was
Here
a
we
joke
go.
there, sorry.
Here we go.
So I just tuned out. I was like, oh. But yeah, I just kept thinking, what's next? But I was pretty happy with the movie,
Yeah.
That's awesome.
like how it ended, and it felt complete. It felt like it was 11 years. The first Iron Man movie was 2008, so it felt fitting, a good culmination of 11 years. So
Definitely. All right, Eris and Lachelle, guys, let us know what you thought.
Interesting you say
Yes.
that. Actually, I think today is actually the 11-year anniversary to Iron Man 1.
No way.
Oh
Came out
my
every
gosh.
So you planned
No way.
I mean, just as we planned, right, Harold?
it.
Oh, yeah, that's-
Good time.
totally as we meant it. All right,
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, I know. I got stressed.
Yeah.
I just realized. So, no, I loved it. It was an awesome experience. It felt like an amazing way for them to conclude this 11-year-long journey. And yeah, I think I was emotional for like the next 24 hours. I went to work the next day and I was like, I can't even. How can I? Iron Man's
Look-
gone.
Look at this trooper right here going to work after seeing it. Man, oh, God.
Yeah,
I mean,
it was hard.
I know a lot of people took off that day, so.
Yeah.
Yep.
I had someone go with family, so I can't think of things. We lost a family member. We all lost a family member that day.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
my
yeah.
God. Actually, we lost two.
Amen.
We lost two that day.
Oh,
Just
no.
stop.
No. Not again.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, yeah, I pretty much felt the same way, and I think we'll talk about when we get to the specific parts of the movie later on. I think I'll be able to outline like, yeah, that's where I started crying. That's where I started feeling that first tear come out. Like it's and like you guys, all of you, kind of like pretty much surmised it. Like it felt like a worthy conclusion to a 10-11 year saga. Like if you're counting the production time, the time it took to create Iron Man, the first Iron Man, it's been like 11 years, and oh man, it's like a lot of pent up emotions just pouring out, and they did it in like the best way possible, because you don't, well, I think a lot of, like, pretty much all of us here on the show can agree, like, you leave pretty much satisfied. The fan service was on point. You never felt cringy at that fan service, because there are a lot of times when properties try to give you fan service and you're like, oh, really, right now, at this moment? And I don't think I felt that at any point of the movie.
No, not at all. In fact, my favorite fan service is like in any movie. It has to be in this movie, just because it. I don't know if you can talk about this yet. I don't know, because this is the first part. No, I'll just save it. I'll save it for later. Save it for later.
Yeah.
We'll bring it up in like 3 minutes. Don't worry, we got you. We got you, buddy. We got you. Oh man, but yes, chat. Let us know what were your initial thoughts. Derek, I know you've been looking at the chat.
Yeah,
what's that?
I was just kind of answering. Yeah.
Sorry, Eris, what was that?
I was saying the ideas are thrown out in the chat with the Young Avengers, with Iron Lad.
Yeah.
Hawkeye's good. I like the ideas.
Yeah.
Like, I can't see Lang up in there, so
Man.
it's gonna happen. But yeah, so Derek, man, I know you've been looking through chat. Anything you wanna bring up before we actually talk about the start of the movie?
Yeah, Miku P. I want to reply to Miku P. The 3000. That's touching. I don't know if this is actually true, but I thought I saw somebody post that he said "I love you 3000" because the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe has been 3000 minutes. I don't know if that's actually true, but if it is, that's pretty touching.
I heard. I saw another rumor that corroborated that. So.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
I saw a spreadsheet.
Two rumors.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Two
And then,
rumors and a spreadsheet.
Right. Gamer News says Hawkeye and EG was a BAMF, and I agree, dude. I love. Those people know I love Archer like type characters. So that'd be really cool if they made a movie out of Hawkeye.
Oh yeah. They're
and
doing a show.
I think,
Doing a Disney Plus
exactly.
show. Yeah.
And I know Hurt Vonnegut. I hope I'm saying that right. I'm sorry if I'm butchering it. I probably am. Said, aren't they making a Black Widow movie? I heard they are, and I actually, she's directing it too. So she's directing it and starring in it. So that's gonna be crazy. That's gonna be awesome for her. That's just awesome.
She's directing.
Yeah.
Is she directing or producing?
Sorry, producing it. You're right. That's what I was.
Okay.
I was about to say,
Speaking
wow.
of like surprises, dude, that's another thing I was gonna add is that like for me, like especially, I mean, I went into it thinking Chris Evans is gonna go. I think everyone did. It was just that much more of a surprise at the end. I just wanted to add that. Like I remember at the end, I was like, whoa, I did not expect that at all. But yeah, yeah.
All right, well, we'll get to that in just a bit. But thank you, everyone. Keep letting us know your thoughts in the chat. Derek, Juancho, and I, and of course, Eris and Michelle, we'll keep picking them up, and we'll keep talking about it. One thing I want to say before we actually start our recap is, when you have certain cinemas on, around the world doing multiple days of 24-hour screenings, you're in for something, and you're pretty much also aware that they're gonna break a record or two. And they've already broken the record for most amount of money made in an opening weekend, I think.
Wow.
And it's ridiculous. Yeah, they shattered it.
I'm not surprised. Like literally all the cinemas you go to right now, it's just Endgame. I haven't watched Shazam yet, and I wanted to go out and watch Shazam afterwards. I was like, impossible.
Good luck.
I feel bad after the other movies right now coming out, like with Avengers. I feel bad for those movies.
What other movies?
Right, exactly right. Yeah, you're right.
Who would be foolish enough?
Wasn't Hellboy just like last week or something?
It was.
Who?
Oh man. All right. Well, sorry guys, I'm gonna have to damper the mood here. I'm gonna have to change up our bed music because we start off Avengers Endgame with, of course, a little bit of a pre-snapping where we see Hawkeye's family slowly disappear on him one by one after an emotional scene on their ranch. And man, see that first scene alone gets you like, no. They're bringing us back to that snap, man. It's rough. It's freaking rough.
Dude, I felt that. That hit home, man. That's just because he looked so happy. It was such a simple life, and he was so happy, and just teaching his kids, and then it's coming, but still you feel it, and I felt it. I was like, okay, go ahead and kill all those Japanese guys. You can do that. That's fine. He went through a lot. He can kill all the people he wants now.
He's justified.
I feel like the director hired him for a second,
Yeah, right. That was his beginning. They had to make it credible to why he was doing this. You guys, he's lost a lot. I agree though, man. It was very. I was surprised actually. A couple of people in the theater thought it was a trailer for another movie. I heard him over talking. They're oh, this looks good. No, you guys, it's the movie. How do you not know that's Hawkeye? Come on.
Jeremy Renner.
And then they're oh, yeah, yeah.
Man, it just opens, dude. It opens in the most simple scene too.
I agree.
This is such a grand movie. You expect it to open it like that, with a guy playing with his kids? I was not
I like the decision they made to not show them actually turn to dust, that they just weren't there.
Yeah, I like that. That was good.
Little bits, but not nearly
it wasn't
as
obvious.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You see the dust, but you don't see them melt.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think Ars is right. I don't think he saw it. I think
Yeah.
I saw the dust, but
Yeah.
his back was like turned or something, right? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you
That's
literally
really
see it from his perspective. You know, you never see it coming, and you never see it happen, and you're like, what?
Well, you see where he turns to, and there's like little fragments of dust that you know what that is, but like he doesn't know what it is.
He thought it was like the fall leaves or something.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Yeah, that's the way to start, man. That's the way to start. And so after that, you know, we get to the point where we actually see who's left with the Avengers. But before that, actually, we see Robert Downey Jr. We see Tony Stark up in space with Nebula, you know, and they're floating around, and he does that thing in the trailer where he records a message to Pepper Potts. It's a little lengthier than what we saw in the trailer, but it's pretty much just that same feeling of, yep, we're not making it back, and they really do a good job, even though you know they're gonna make it back. They do a good job of making you think like, they're not making it back. They're not gonna make it back.
Yeah.
Because he looked. Was he really that thin, or that has to be CG, right? That wasn't some
CG.
Christian Bale type of thing, right?
I heard he exercised down though, or like
Really?
worked his body. I don't know if he worked to that extent, but he didn't pull like a Chris Evans and like.
Yeah. Reverse Chris Evans. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like he didn't do that, but I think he did do some work on himself to make sure he was fit for the
That's
scene.
good.
Because it looked real. Like,
Yeah, it did.
I knew he was gonna survive.
Yeah,
but
right.
He looked
He went
defeated.
he went the machinist on us. He went what's his name on us?
Christian Bale.
Yeah, Christian Bale on us. That was
there you go. Yep.
bad. And
He went Batman on us.
Yeah, exactly. And it wasn't just that he was thinner, you know, like the fact that he was thinner kind of accentuated the emotion of that scene where it's like, yes, I've been out in space for 30 freaking days with no hope, and you know, like I know what happened. You know, he knows that they lost, and for all he knew, everyone he loved was gone. And he comes back home thanks to the aid of, you know, Captain Marvel, who we see with the Avengers for the first time. Actually, everyone was speculating, how is Tony gonna get back to Earth? How is Iron Man gonna get back to Earth? And we find out it's Captain Marvel. She chances upon.
How did she find the ship?
Well, because there's a theory on that to where the end of I think Captain Marvel, when she goes in and has that scene where she's like, "Where's Fury?"
That's right.
Okay.
In between, and so they were probably like, "I don't know, he's probably gone, but Tony Stark's in space. Go get him."
Oh yeah,
Dude,
that's my connection.
That makes so much sense because I was wondering the whole time, like, when does the end credits of Captain Marvel happen? You know, because it doesn't fit. Because I thought the first time they saw her was when she landed with the ship, but no, that makes sense. She went home first.
I mean, not to mention they never mentioned the beeper on this movie, so.
That's right. That actually is a really good point because they were like messing with. And then she showed up.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah,
you're fine now. You're fine now.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was saying he makes a good point because I was thinking the same thing, but then at the end of Captain Marvel, they were like tinkering with it, right? They're like, "What is this?" And then she just showed up. So maybe they're just like, "Hey, dude, he's out there. Go find him. You got it. Just fly around. Yeah, you can do it."
We actually I thought we'd get to see Maria Hill talk to. Oh, but she wasn't around. That's right. She got snapped too.
Yeah,
Right?
she got snapped.
Damn.
I like how
you guys
thought that it was going to be Pepper Potts who came and saved them.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Like
I thought it was gonna be rescue. Yeah.
I was like, that would make so much less sense. But like Pepper's like, I'm gonna go in space and find him. Like what?
Yeah, you know, she probably has like a GPS for all his suits too. You know, that explains something.
Oh, there you go. Getting somewhere. That's how Captain Marvel found him.
Yep. I do want to make one more comment on that scene. Is that when people were mentioning like why the two of them, it's really beautiful that you have the one person who has daddy issues and then the other person who has like kind of child issues and trying to reconcile the fact that he lost his child
surrogate son.
Right.
He lost her father figure, and both of them having to deal with that on two sides of the spectrum was poetic.
That's actually, I never looked at it like that. That's actually good. That's cool.
They probably had like a lot of that heart-to-heart talks off screen.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
like
yeah.
all of your scenes, I was just like,
Yeah, right. He lost his
It was such a good way to make Nebula relatable too, because you see her supporting Tony, like picking him up, giving him the last of the chips or whatnot, and you're like, she's good. I like her now, But despite her, she's like, wow, she's good.
Yeah.
Also, did you guys notice the very first foreshadowing?
Oh no! Which one?
I don't think I did.
They were playing that football thing. What do you call that game? When you flick the thing? When you flick the paper and play football?
I call it flick football, something like
that.
Yeah,
it's something like paper football, right?
Finger football, or something like
that. Isn't that how the Endgame ends? By playing football with they just kept passing it and trying to reach the goal. First foreshadowing, just saying.
All right, that's it for Juancho, guys. Thanks for tuning in, Juancho. Thanks for stopping by. It was great to have you on the show today.
I didn't realize that until you said that. Kind of
It was great having you on the show today, Juancho. Let's get. Wait, let me bring your webcam back. All right. That's hilarious. No, but yeah, Miko P. Yeah, Miko P in the chat pointed that out as well. It was a cute scene to have Nebula and Tony Stark, who have on the surface nothing in common, and then when you dig deeper, like Lachelle said, they both have daddy issues, and Tony Stark has those kid issues where he's thinking about, he's at that stage of his life where he's like, I want to rest and I want to start a family, which he talked about in Infinity War. And it's rough seeing that and seeing the lack of hope and just the pure desperation at that point where they've gone on for days without rations or days on just minimal rations, and it's crazy. It's crazy to think. And when they do get back to Earth, they meet up with the rest of the Avengers, and I love how badass Captain Marvel is, where she flat out says, let's go take out Thanos. After they find his location, and they said, there's going to be no difference. We're lacking manpower. We have less now than we had before, and we're going to go after him. And in true Carol Danvers fashion, she says, "You didn't have me, before. You didn't have me." And true enough. Even though Thanos was kind of old farmer man, they just lopped his head off.
Yeah. I'd like to point out, too, that they did such a good job, and I'm happy with trailers. Like, almost 90% of the trailers were cut out in the first 10 minutes. Like, that's how I was like, thank God. Yeah, I was like, thank the Lord. Like, almost every movie I watch are kind of like, okay, when's this trailer part happening? That way I don't have to think about it. And then a lot of it was done in the beginning, so that was good.
They did it well. They did it well so that, a lot of the scenes were kind of tailor-made to become trailers.
Yeah, the movie wasn't joking when they're like, just straight up, let's go to space right now, and they actually go to space right now. I was like, what?
Yeah.
I was just like, I was just surprised that they did that so soon, but makes sense.
Yeah, it was very shocking because they go straight up into Rocket's ship, or I guess that's Quill's ship, although Rocket would contest that, and. They go straight up into the garden is what they refer to it as, and they see Thanos. I love that shot of it's the Philippines pretty much, the rice terraces.
That's funny. Sir, come here, sir. Did you see Thanos like? You see Thanos has like a yaya or something, that'd be
He comes out
They're coming. Oh, over there.
Oh my god.
Damn it. They're like asking Carol Danvers, "Saan na si Thanos?"
Oh my god.
Wait, I know you're doing this, but take off your shoes. Take off your shoes first.
They go out, they went to Thanos' house, they take off their shoes.
Oh man.
How Asian is he?
Yeah, right? Yeah.
He's an Asian dad. Oh my gosh, Hark, you're so right.
Never approving of Nebula's work, having a favorite.
Right?
Yeah, but
Right?
Yeah. But we do get to Thanos, and I love that opening scene where he's a farmer. He's become a farmer over the past couple of months, and it's so different from what you normally see with villains, where they're just like, yes, I've conquered the world. No, this dude is just retired. He's done what he wanted to do, and he's pretty content. And it even plays out when he finally, gets threatened to be killed. Like, he's not fighting it. The whole Avengers team, plus Captain Marvel, are just holding him down, and he's barely fighting it. He's got nothing else to do. He's got nothing else to live for, pretty much. And in true meme fashion, they play to that, and Thor comes in and goes for the head mid conversation with Nebula. That was shocking for me. I was like, wow, I guess we're done.
That was deep. That was deep to me. That just showed that ate him up for so long. Like he wasn't even after he did it, he kind of stared. He goes, I went for the head, and he just flew off. That was just bothering him forever. And that was, for me, I was like, damn, that hit him hard. Just that.
Yeah. And we see later on, that doesn't even really fix what he feels. You pointed out, Rocket asks him, what did you do? And the emotion from Chris Hemsworth, man, people can call him wooden all they want, but he shows so much emotion throughout this movie. And in that initial scene, you see him totally in pain. You see him suffering, and that weight of not being able to save the universe is heavily weighing on him, to the point that where he didn't wait for anyone to give him the signal to kill him. He just went straight for it. And when he does finally answer Rocket and say, I went for the head, he wasn't satisfied with that.
Right.
Yeah, you get that emotion where it's like, wow, that's it. That really is how it feels, where it's like, okay, he went for the head. And
that was such a, because that was a Disney one-liner joke. That was meant to be a Disney one-liner joke, but you really felt how defeated Thor was. So
yeah,
I just thought that was really well played. Yeah.
Yeah, it really was. And I think what's even more traumatic is you don't really get time to think about it, because it cuts straight, and then you see the text go up in your screen, and it says 5 years later, and you're like, what? We lived with this for 5 years?
Well,
how I was gonna ask, how do you guys feel about it? How do you feel about everything?
About Parks, I think all of the actors did such a good job portraying time. And I'm skipping forward a little bit. I know we'll get into it in a minute, but final reveal happens and all of the guys are there. You really feel like seconds has passed for them versus all of the actors who stayed, all of the characters who stayed. So I'm really blown away that through their performance, you feel the passage of time. You see Thor go from being like, ha, I did it, 30 days after he has all this rage, to I did it. You remember that? I did it.
Oh, man.
Yeah, right.
I don't know if you ever had that. Even immediately afterwards, this triumphant moment where he killed Thanos. It's literally pans on him staring off.
Yeah.
And then the audience being like, well, what now?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh my gosh, exactly, yes. And man, you get that passage of time, like Lachelle mentioned. I didn't even think, that's how good the story was. That's how well it was edited, and that's how well the actors played it. Where you get to the 5 months later, even though you have all these establishing shots of empty cities and certain parts of all these places, and then you only really get the emotion of, wow, it really has been 5 years when you see the people, when you see Steve Rogers in that support group, and they're all commiserating with each other, and you're like, it's real. That's when you know it's real. It doesn't matter what the outside world looks like, because if the people if you see the people and they're all happy and it doesn't matter, then it might as well not have happened. But you get to the support group, that first actual scene of the support group, and you're like, wow, they're showing this in a very human level where people are dealing with this on their day-to-day lives.
Just another props to the actors. Another way to feel how believable the 5-year skip was when the snapped people come back.
Yes.
You could really feel the difference in who got snapped and who didn't. Like,
Yes.
Peter Parker comes back, still preppy. But Iron Man doesn't even say, like, one joke to him. He's like, just quiet. He's just dumbfounded. He's still just dealing with it, you know? Like, you expect him to say some witty thing, but he doesn't. This is 5 years later, Iron Man, not that witty.
Yeah. Like, he's been through something, man. He's been through a lot. Yeah. So we go 5 years later. If I could take it back to that support group scene, which is what we're doing right now. All right. I aside from the fact that I saw Joe Russo almost immediately, I was like, oh, that's him. Which I think no one in the theater appreciated. I'm sorry, guys. But I love the fact that even though he is this epitome of America, he's this epitome of what a superhero's values and what a superhero should look like. This is what a superhero should be. He still has the time to go to this little support group with, it's not even like a ton of people. It's like 5-6 people in one room. You know, you'd think that the modern superhero would be like, I got better things to do, or I'm policing the rest of the world right now. No, he's going to make time. He's going to see these individuals who are hurting, and he knows what it's like to lose something like that. And I'm getting choked up here. And
but you make a really good point to that, too, that this is Captain America. Anyone else in any other place or any other time would have been like, yeah, there's going to be a million people in that support group. But the fact that these guys had to deal with 5 years, and it's kind of their fault that they're living this kind of life, and there's only so few people in that support group. They kept sprinkling it in like that like these people aren't actually that happy about the superheroes around them. They're kind of like sick of everything.
Yeah.
Dude, I took that a completely different way. I thought Captain America was actually just part of the support group. Like, he needed to be there. I mean, he was there sharing, dude. He was there. I was frozen for 70 years. I lost the love of my life, stuff like that. I felt like he needed it. Like, he was that defeated that he needs to join the support group. He wasn't there to help these people. He was there for the support.
Oh, that definitely. And I mean, it doesn't have to be exclusive, you know, like both could come hand in hand. Yeah. Because like he could have easily sought a distraction with the rest of the Avengers. He could easily have gone through that scene with Black Widow, where they just talk. But the thing is, being another hero, you know, or being another Avenger, you've kind of gone through the same stuff. And Steve actually went to who you would call average everyday people, and he wanted to see those experiences firsthand instead of talking to other heroes. Because I mean, that, you know, they dealt with it healthily, I guess. I mean, you got Thor, who we'll get to in a second. You had you had Bruce Banner, who went, you know, a direction I don't think many of us saw. But yeah, like I wanted to emphasize that whole support. Yeah, he he kind of did. You know, he kind of did. But yeah, they really show the different angles of it. Where you know, some people kept busy, like Nat. Some people tried to find inner peace, like Bruce Banner. And then some people just couldn't really handle it, like Thor. And you know, I know Thor is a big topic here, so let's dive right into it, man. That dude is still going through PTSD when we see him. That dude is still suffering from the fact that he knows he failed half the universe. You know, I like this line. I think it was Kevin Smith who said it, but like, man, and I guess gods as well, you know, they don't process failure sensibly. They don't process what happened pragmatically. You know, he doesn't see it as, okay, I did what I could, I made a mistake, or who could have seen that coming? He didn't see it that way. He saw it as, I let the whole world down. And that just shows how human Thor is. And again, like Chris Hemsworth, you know him for how handsome he looks and how ridiculous his body shape is. But the fact that they took the risk with making him Viking large, like that is tough. And he was able to portray emotion through all that makeup and through all that fat suitiness, which could have easily just been a joke, a quick joke, and then that was it. But they play it off, like he plays it off so well, even though the rest of his world, like Tony Stark calls him Lebowski, people keep making references to his weight left and right, but he still plays it off as like, no, I'm still going through stuff. It's easy to just be like, yeah, it's a joke. But I don't know, I really liked Hemsworth acting.
I agree. I think they did an awesome job kind of showing how dark that could be, but also how humorous he kind of made it, how he added some levity to that situation, while also kind of stewing in it because of just the imagery they put on when you're in the house. You see him and the way he's living, he's still down there.
Oh
yeah. I thought that was awesome. Just like, dude, I feel like he's how he's like the epitome of like how everybody, like after they just kind of like lose himself, kind of end up in. Juancho was saying too. I remember we had a group chat and he was like, "Dude, that's how you know he hit the lowest of the low. He was playing Fortnite, blah blah blah." I was like, "Oh." I was like, "Jesus." And he's like, "I actually hated that scene, but then again, it actually shows how low he actually got." And I was like, "Oh." But yeah, I agree, man, and I think I loved it because, man, the movie. A lot of people didn't like it, that part of like the beginning of the movie. For me, like a lot of my closer friends are like, I didn't like the first part; it was draggy. And I was like, well, to me, I loved it because it's like you felt them lose, like you know what I mean. It's like you knew it. You're like, dude, they lost. Like that's it. And this is where it's at now, and they're still lost. If you think about it, like he affected them in so many ways, even after ending him. As they thought, and they were just all gone, and it was insane. You only had a few people, if that spark, of course, we'll talk about later, Ant-Man, that brought it back, but oh man, they just kind of accepted it, and it was like crazy. It's like, well, no matter how you look at it, in any way, they just lost, dude. Thanos just did it. He beat them all. And we're going back to Herald with the banner thing. That's probably the one thing I wasn't really sure to feel that, to be honest, at first.
About Bruce Banner?
About Bruce Banner and the Hulk together.
Oh yeah.
I thought that for me at first it was kind of weird. I mean, I could be wrong. Don't get me wrong. I might be wrong. I don't think that's ever happened in the comic. I don't know if it has. I don't think it's that long. But it was like really different. It was different. But I think he played it off well. But it was just like kind of I'm so used to just
Infinity War comics or the Infinity Gauntlet comics where you see Hulk walking around like essentially like a suit. And he's having
really? Okay, yeah. So that's awesome then. Yeah, but like I love how he did the dab thing. I was like, oh my god,
he was never comical with it, but so that's like
right.
Definitely played it up, especially in like the dying.
He was more like Beast, right? In X-Men.
What's that?
He was more like Beast in X-Men, like the composed,
In comic sense?
Yeah.
Somewhat, but he was Bruce Banner in there, so he's like super smart Hulk essentially. So,
right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And
similar, but he's still.
Yeah, I felt a little confused with that as well because, Aris brought it up. Like it's Bruce Banner's mind with the Hulk's body, and they say it's the best of both worlds, but at the same time, like, doesn't Hulk have his own personality that's getting suppressed? So
I mean, that's always something that that comics go back and forth on. If they could,
it's up. Yeah.
If that's the case, is Hulk just like chilling in the back subconscious,
right?
Okay. You can debate it all. It all comes down to whoever's writing that character, what they need it to be. So
that's true. That's
true,
very true. And I guess
Thor, yeah.
Yeah, that's also the reason why they haven't really had a Hulk main movie in a while, because no one really knows how to write the Hulk for a full feature-length movie on his own.
Like contract issues that they have that they can't.
That too.
Well, it's just a really nice way of fast passing us through his story. Like, you didn't need do make you kind of walk through Thor with we didn't even get to talk about the Meep scene and Thor with New Master because that was hilarious.
Corgan meat. Yeah, so
Corgan meat, yeah.
we kind of lead into the dramatic stuff. Let's talk about the fun stuff that happened in those early scenes with Corgan Meek and Noob Master. I love that though. Like I love how they cut the tension with humor like that. And you know, it's easy to think of it like Juancho where it's very juvenile. You know, Korg is telling on Noob Master 69 who's playing against in Fortnite to Thor, and Thor puts on the headset and just yells at him, makes the 12-year-old cry. But like it's kind of essential to make it not draggy. You know, like your friend said, Derek. It's kind of essential not to make it a total downer because it's easy to get lost in that.
You know, that's how your family is when you're dealing with depression and sadness. Like not everyone around you is just gonna constantly be like that. You're gonna get those moments of levity that you're just gonna have to deal with, and Thor deals with it in such a good way of being like, okay, I'm not angry, you suck.
Got beer and friends, you know, he has his friends, dude. Just imagine if he didn't have those two with him. You know, he probably would have been so like gone. And I was more surprised that Meek didn't grow that much in the 5 years. I thought he'd be like fully formed, you know, but he was still like a little like teenager Meek, I guess.
So I just made it back just in time for Fat Thor.
Yes.
Perfect. Because when I was watching this movie, that one scene when he was playing Fortnite,
I was just talking about that.
I didn't like that. At first, I was like, "Man, he's playing Fortnite, okay." Then I realized, Derek.
I know, I knew.
This is him at the lowest of the low.
Here it comes.
Avenger. This is where his place smells like shit. You know, it's like smells like this raccoon who eats garbage thinks his place smells like shit, and he's playing Fortnite. It just adds to it, you know. It just adds to it. Being defeated.
You really
you know, it's funny. I actually called that you were gonna say that, and you did. I was like, that was like his worst scene, but then he was like, "Oh, well, technically, he's at the lowest point, so."
So it makes sense.
It all makes sense now. And going back to the Hulk and you know the scene where you get Rogers and Ant-Man going to Bruce. That since we're talking about humor, you know the scene where Bruce gets a selfie and does the awkward little dab thing. I think the highlight for me in that scene is they managed to add a Paul Rudd movie scene in an Avengers movie. You know how he had that little interaction in the Baskin Robbins with the kid from Son of Zorn, where he's like, "You have anything hot?" It's like, it's Baskin Robbins. They had that kind of scene in a movie like Avengers Endgame where they're like, "Oh, it's Ant-Man. You want to take a photo with him?" And they do that little back and forth where it ends with Paul Rudd with Ant-Man just being like, "I don't want to take a photo with them."
Yeah.
And he says that to kids. It's such a Paul Rudd movie thing, and they squeezed it in the Endgame, and I was like, I was just very impressed. I was very impressed by that.
Dude, the entire movie though, I felt like they're treating Ant-Man with like really shitty. Like they're really looking down on him, you know?
He's really smart.
He saved the world. He saved the world. Just saying.
Oh yeah, but
his idea.
Be strong.
I agree. He has like he's an engineer, right? Like,
yeah, dude, he has a master's in engineering, but they treat him like he's dumb.
Yeah.
Feels bad. I feel for Ant-Man.
Right?
I think
he's a mechanical engineer.
And
then you got Mark and that
you could be right.
Bruce Banner, and you're like, yeah, you're a mechanic. You know.
And then it's almost like the like Big Bang Theory where you have Sheldon, and then you have like Howard, who Howard's smart, but he's like, you know, like the lowest smart. So they're like,
right.
Man, you know, we got like
also an engineer without a PhD.
Exactly. That's true.
This is how engineers got so much money because of movies like this.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So. I love the humor in this movie, and we'll probably tackle one or two more points in a couple of minutes from now. But like, I love I really love this movie. I swear to God. So let's move on to the part where they start planning the time heist. So they realize with the emergence of Ant-Man, thanks to the little chef freeing him from the quantum realm.
Ratatouille!
Yeah, right. Like the rat,
the real MVP.
the real MVP, the rat in wherever dump his car got impounded was.
The funny thing is that there was like an interview, I guess, with the Russo brothers, and people were like asking him, like, what if that mouse didn't like hit the button? And they're like, that's just one of the many possibilities that Strange saw, and a lot of them was the mouse not doing it, and they all just died in that state, like just just like accepted it. So like I was like, oh, that's pretty funny, but yeah, the rat man.
Mickey Mouse, I like
that though. Yeah, it's Mickey Mouse.
Maddox in the chat is Mickey Mouse. His first appearance in the MCU, yeah, definitely saved the world.
Yeah.
What a badass.
Real quick, I'm gonna use the time stone real quick, and let's turn back time. Like, I didn't get who do you think? Who did you think the main bad guy of the movie was gonna be now? Like, did you ever think of that
at this moment?
Yeah, because like they killed. How did you feel about after they killed Thanos? What did you think?
Oh.
In terms of what they're gonna, I mean, that was the whole point. Yeah, they had that moment where you kind of feel it with Thor, where he cuts his head off and like he has his back to the camera and there's like that pause where you're just like sinking in. You're like, well, what are they gonna do now? And then like 5 minutes later, and then it's like, oh well, I guess they're gonna be doing this for quite a minute. I mean, I guess for myself, it was so shocking. I mean, the movie does a good job of like not even allowing you time to kind of like start guessing about like what could possibly happen. It's just constantly throwing stuff at you to kind of witness and be like, all right, well now it looks like Ant-Man's out. Oh my God, everyone's daughter's 5 years older. Now we gotta find and see where
that's true. Okay.
And then it kind of like at the same time puts it together like, oh, we're gonna go back in time. Like, okay, so it's gonna be time travel. So.
Yeah.
But I mean. I was definitely not expecting how they were bringing Thanos back. I figured that he had more to do in the story just because of how quickly they killed him. Was it's like, well, like this is kind of his chapter. He has to show up again in some way, shape, or form.
Okay.
And then that's when time travel comes in. You're like, oh, I guess they're going to deal with a younger one. But yeah, in terms of the end of it, I never expected how.
That in the comics, there was a different storyline that happened after that, right?
What, after the snap?
Yeah.
Well, in the comic Infinity Gauntlet, the snap takes place like right at the beginning of the book.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how it starts, and then everybody comes together and has this big epic battle.
Well, Nebula is the baddie. That's what it is. Nebula is like the person who revives everyone, and then also is the baddie.
No, she's not bad.
Didn't Thanos I was gonna say, didn't Thanos I remember one like old comic Thanos like wouldn't he basically like win, but then like he was bored, so he like brought him back or something like that?
No,
with, like Lady Death and stuff like that, or was that something else?
No, I mean maybe in some stories that might have happened, but I know in the actual Infinity Gauntlet, he's the one who took everybody out, and then like pretty much the reason he lost the Gauntlet in the books was like he had this moment of like, I'm pretty much gonna leave my mortal body and like become you. And then the second Nebula snatches the Gauntlet from his hand and then puts it on, and then becomes normal, but then snaps to bring everybody back just to kind of spite Thanos. Not to say that she like didn't do it to be a good person. She was just like, I don't want you to have it.
They tried to get the away from her too, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
so what I thought was going to happen was they were going to try to follow that storyline, and then Nebula would end up, which she kind of did.
Yeah. They build her up quite a bit in the movie.
Yeah. She did a big integral part in the books too.
Yeah.
So that was awesome.
Yeah.
That was a really cool thing for them to do.
Definitely.
Roger, who do you think was going to be the bad guy? Or you and Harold, who do you guys think was going to be the bad guy? To answer Monty's question.
I honestly didn't know. Like at that point, I was like, wait, so who's the bad guy? Are they? Yeah. I thought they were going to introduce a phase 4 or 5. What phase are we on?
4 now.
Yeah, I thought they're going to.
Yeah, we're on 3 right now.
The next phase. I thought they're going to introduce like the next phase guy or something. I don't know.
Probably in Spider-Man, because they're saying that's the official end of it, like a phase 3. So maybe in Iron Man, maybe it's Mysterio. Maybe. That's for another. Yeah,
I mean,
right.
Jake
man,
Gyllenhaal is an attractive man, but let's not hype up Mysterio too much. Let's
I mean, there's so many different characters they can bring in for the next.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Doctor Kid.
Galactus. Yeah,
I know one like a bunch of favorites. Like Galactus, Kang the Conqueror. There's a whole plethora. To answer Juancho's question real quick though, I think at that moment I just started to see it as a man versus himself kind of a story. I didn't think there was gonna be a villain up until Thanos made it. Actually, up until Thanos made it through, I thought he was just gonna be like a side character. And then when Nebula got him through, I was like, all right, I guess we're doing this. Like, I'm not complaining. But yeah, I really thought it was gonna be like the struggle of man and like that whole Sisyphus thing where they keep pushing the rock up and it's just gonna keep falling back on them. I thought it was gonna be like that.
Damn, that would be a really depressing 3 hours, Harold. Like 3 hours of them all attending support groups and just seeing how they all deal with it. That would be so sad.
Therapy.
So Bruce, can I call you Bruce? I think you're using your celebrity as a coping mechanism. No, can you see me dab? Can you see me dab?
Thor's like AA meetings, dude. Like, hi, I'm Thor. Like,
hi, Thor.
I am an alcoholic. Yeah. Oh, buddy.
Yeah, like, and I would love to see. Actually, I would love to see alternate angles on this very movie because Disney Plus is coming out with a What If series, an animated What If series, and they want to tackle like certain parts of the MCU and like see what alternate endings would come out from that.
I think it'd be interesting too if you like follow the lives of the people in the 5 years that lived. I think that'd be an interesting series. Like, you know what I mean? Because obviously, like when you saw the parts of the world that they showed, they weren't like cleaned up. They just like said whatever, dude. Like they didn't try to like like I guess not repopulate's the word. Just kind of like try to make it as possible normal. Yeah. They didn't really do anything. I mean, it's kind of like this. You can't really do. It's hard. Yeah, I mean.
What we can pick up was they don't even do sporting events anymore, right? That's why one of them was like, I really messed the nets. So they literally gave up on sporting events and stuff.
Yeah.
So
when half of your league is gone, yeah.
The real bad guy was time. Let's say that.
Oh my god.
That's what I thought. I thought it was just gonna be, it's probably gonna. Well, they did do the earthquake thing, so I thought they were gonna maybe hint at the Atlantis rising up or something. I think
that would have been cool.
I feel like I say his name wrong.
Wasn't that a hint to Namor?
That's what I thought it might have been. I'm not familiar with him that much. No, he exists in the comic, but I thought it was maybe a nudge towards that. Could be for future stuff. I mean, why else would they say it, right? If it didn't mean anything.
Yeah,
they said in the when Black Widow was talking to, was it Falcon? And she was like, "Oh, I'm reporting," or something like. Oh no, not Falcon. I'm sorry. Don Cheadle. Sorry, War Machine. And he's like, "Yeah, we have underground tremors." And she's like, "Why would he investigate that? It's like under the ocean. That doesn't mean anything." And something like that along those lines. But basically,
that's a good nod.
A lot of people saw that. Oh, maybe is it Namor? I feel like I say his name all the time. Namor. So I feel like that could be a nudge, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, why would he even bring it up? You know what I mean? If it wasn't anything important, but
yeah,
I don't know. It could have just been thrown in there too. But
I hope when they introduce Namor with the other X-Men, because that'd be
right.
Do it because he was one of the first X-Men, or one of the first mutants.
Right, and we have our friend Nick was telling us that there's a theory going around on Reddit because they mentioned that the snap kind of emits like gamma, so maybe that could be their explanation of how the mutants are formed back. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe like the snap, the gamma, like can bring them back. I don't know. There's like a theory on Reddit he read. I was like, that's kind of a cool theory. Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll see. We'll see. Yeah.
I mean, it matches their kind of like origin, basically.
Right?
Kind of, yeah. I can see it.
And maybe they'll
At the same time, though, I just want them to really kind of take a break from X-Men, considering another one that's not even out yet.
Yeah, exactly.
No more.
Yeah.
No more.
Yeah, I know.
I feel like they need to breathe for like a couple years.
I feel like time would heal that franchise quite well. Maybe. Yeah, yes. Give us a good Fantastic Four. Give the X-Men a snap and maybe bring him back in 5 years.
Build up for that because what's the next one? The Eternals. They're making an Eternals movie. So
Yeah,
yes.
right.
They're doubling down on cosmic stuff. So I would imagine they start introducing characters like Galactus and Silver Surfer, who then get you.
Yes.
And they already hinted that Adam
Rogers
Warlock
will return.
character.
Yeah, Steve.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Oh yeah.
He's going to be in Guardians of the Galaxy 3. So
Mm-hmm.
there you go. All
I was
prime.
actually surprised Adam Warlock wasn't part of this
Me
Infinity War
too.
thing,
I was
right?
hoping for that. But there was too many characters.
I
I was
mean,
like, what are you going to do with them?
He was introduced. I mean, I would say he's introduced too late, but Captain Marvel had one movie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's true.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true.
But at the same time, yeah, if it had get then Adam Warlock his own movie, but that's a hard sell.
At the end, I'd love to ask you guys who you'd cast for Adam Warlock, but we're kind of drifting a bit. Let's circle back.
Actually,
let's use
where
that time
were we?
Time heist.
Time heist.
Time
Time
heist.
heist.
Yes.
Time heist.
Time heist.
All right, so Tony figures out time travel. He figures out the whole timey-wimey thing, and meets up with the Avengers. You know, we get a shot of him and his family and how cute Morgan Stark is. God, that kid is so cute. And the
Cheeks. Yeah, the cheeks.
Adorable. And yeah, so they all come together. The remaining Avengers come together. Sans Captain Marvel because she's still out in space trying to fix the rest of the universe. I love that, by the way, when she was talking to Black Widow and she was like, you know, it's not just Earth. You know, the rest of the universe felt the snap as well, and it's the only way you kind of feel that because otherwise you focus your attention on Earth, and then she kind of puts it in perspective. Like, yes, all the planets you saw in Guardians and all the planets you can imagine are going through this as well. So it's like, okay. Yeah.
You actually see them nod and go like, oh yeah, that's true, huh? You see them nod.
All right, legit. Yeah.
I'm still surprised at how little that she is in the movie, considering as much build-up as she received, but she does have some parts in it still, so.
Yeah.
And I mean, that is the question of like, well, what do you do with a character like that now? Like, what do you do when you have a Superman problem? So,
yeah,
they did a good job of responding to it.
She Brie Larson, or like just Captain Marvel portrayed in the movie, is such a badass. You know, like she kicks butt. She kicks so much butt in that movie. I loved it. I love it. I love this movie. Okay,
we don't see her afterwards, right? She gets punched in the face, and then you don't know what happens.
Was she not at the?
I don't remember anything.
The final
funeral.
She's at that.
Okay, she was there.
Yeah.
Okay.
She was in the funeral. Okay, making sure.
All right, so let's hit up the time heist. The Avengers decide to go back in time with the help of Tony and the initial theories from Ant-Man and Bruce Banner. They find a way to go back in time, pinpoint locations in time and space where the Infinity Stones would be able to be collected and used to unsnap half the universe's population. You know, how are the teams split? Tony, Ant-Man, and Cap go back with Bruce to New York around the time of the first Avengers film. Let's see, not Gamora, Nebula, War Machine, Hawkeye, and Black Widow go back in time in space to around the time where Peter Quill first gets is that the Power Stone? Am I getting that right? The purple one?
Yeah.
And then they split off and Hawkeye and Black Widow go to Vormir. And let's tackle that one first. Let's start with the downer and then let's move on to the happier ones. The whole it's me, no it's you, no it's me, no it's me thing. That one played slightly longer than I thought it would, but I guess they were trying to bring out emotions with Hawkeye and Black Widow because you see them kind of the least. They're the most background characters in these movies because they're introduced in sort of in the background, literally. You know, you get Natasha Romanoff introduced as a courier in Iron Man 2, I think, and then you get Clint Barton introduced as some random guy with a bow in Thor watching over Mjolnir. So I guess they're trying to give a little more gravity and a little more weight to the sacrifice. How did you guys? Let's start with Eris and Michelle. How did you guys feel in on Vormir?
I didn't actually. So I know a lot of people have that same issue, but so I have a little brother, as some of you guys know, he's 14, and that kind of back and forth that they had would be something we'd have. Like even in the very emotional moment, it felt like this. You know, especially when he's like, I don't think we're talking about the same person, and she's like, well, yeah, like. I don't know. The tone she took was this very like older sister kind of. I'm gonna do this, whether you like it or not. This is what I have to do. And that build up that they have when you see her in the office, kind of taking over the Avengers, office main hub. I think was all leading up to that moment where she this is what she's gonna do. Like. By far and large, she knows, like, it doesn't matter what happens on this mission. It will be me who does the sacrifice. When she meets him, she's there to save him when she brings him back to the Avengers Club. So I get the banter. Like, I can relate to the banter. So I think they did a good job of portraying it, honestly.
I like that point of view.
Yeah.
I think it was more so to show that these are two stubborn characters too.
Yeah.
And that's why to be like, you're supposed to be like, all right, get on with it. Like, no, like these characters wouldn't just give up like that on this decision. Like, and literally until the very end when they're literally over the edge, they're both jumping for each other.
And the playfulness, like people really talk about the playfulness and like, oh, but why are they playing around and like, wrestling each other? I'm like, but that's what you would do. Like in a life and death situation with my brother, if he tried to pull that, that's what I would do. It would be light. It would seem light.
Right.
Matter. Like I'm your older sister. I'm gonna do this, and you're gonna do what I say, you little shit.
All right.
I love it. I love it.
I don't know what to add to the scene. She took the cake. Yeah, she said it.
That was perfect.
That's a great summation, and you put that in perspective really well. That's Oh my gosh, that's so true. It really was like siblings just trying to, it's quite the stark contrast between the Iron Man, Captain America dynamic where he tells him, you're not the guy to make the sacrifice. But it's different. It give you the same sort of situation, but on a different perspective where it is more of like a sibling thing.
When you him finally end it, like there's kind of that weird levity to it where they're fighting off the tunnel, and you see him end it where he pulls the stone out, and like you could tell for a moment he's actually hoping, like you could just see from his acting, hoping that that's not the stone, like just hoping it's anything else, and then realizing like, God, no, like, we were just like, when you're playing with your siblings and you're just like, I didn't mean to do that. Like, I didn't, it got too, I'm sorry. Like, it just, all of that emotion.
I love that analogy. And then like Red Skull's just that babysitter who just doesn't give a shit.
I know, right?
He's just watching this entire thing. He's like, okay.
Yeah, all right. What do you guys got it? Just... Yeah, right.
Sorry, I didn't mean to hurt her. I didn't mean to oh, God.
And that's what I want to say that to people. Like, I've seen on Facebook and some people that I know were like, oh, dude, like the ones that didn't really like it. Like, that movie was so predictable. I was like, there's no way you predicted that. I would have no idea. Like, those two are the ones to even do that. You know what I mean? It's like, how could you expect that? And I honestly thought Hawkeye got her when he did the jump. I was like,
dude.
And I was like, that's it. Yeah. And then when they played the exact same sad song when Gamora fell. I was like, no. And the tears are coming. I was like, don't. God, dude. This movie was also pretty, like, I feel like the darkest. Like, it showed blood. And, I mean, they did do, like, with the head cut off. And just, like, it got kind of like, whoa. Like, it's just there. Like, Jesus.
Oh, yeah.
And,
This is...
Yeah, like, Gamora when she fell was kind of, like, far up. But, like, they kind of zoomed in on Black Widow. Like okay, they want to make sure, like, she's dead. Yeah, I was like, that song, dude, that same song, how dare they, dude? It's like, is that the Vormir song? Like, when you're just, whoever does it,
Vormir song.
I was like, oh, I was like, God, I
It's
know what's
fucking
gonna
Red
happen
Skull in
now.
the background. He just has that ready whenever someone
The
falls.
violin. That'd be pretty funny, actually. God, yeah, that's this.
man.
That was sad, man. And again, it just goes to say with the time heist, it's like I have no idea. Like going into it, I'm thinking in the trailer that they're gonna go back to like Iron Man 1, which they kind of did. They did, you know, and they jumped back. I never expected that in the Soulstone part. Like I knew they had to get it, but like
Yeah.
I never would have expected that. Like for sure, that Black Widow would be like gone. That surprised me. Probably amongst everything, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's interesting though because I don't know why they would have sent the two human most characters to like a space.
Right.
I know, to the space one where they need the spaceship.
Right? Yeah.
Wait, why did they even need a spaceship? Couldn't they just go back in time into that spot? Didn't they go back into time into that one planet? I don't know how space-time stuff works, so.
Oh,
Yeah, that was
all right.
It's so sad.
Yeah, it really was. Okay, Nebula and the cross-dimensional Wi-Fi in her head, spoiling the plan, along with them knocking out Quill. Thoughts on how they got the Power Stone?
Oh, I just loved how we saw Quill again.
I did
Love
too.
that scene. I love that scene. And then he just singing them. Oh my god.
It reminded me of those like music videos without like the background music, and you just like they're like,
Yes.
that's what exactly reminded me of. I was like,
Yeah.
oh my god, and then you just like that. That was funny, man. It's
And he's-
that's what I'm saying.
he's
It's
like,
so
so
good.
he's an idiot. Yeah.
Yep. They did such a good job with how they like played it too. You know what I mean? It's like you're just in the back corner. You know what I mean? Just kind of watch it, let it happen, being very careful. I loved it. That was cool.
Yeah. I forgot they took out the
I like-
music and then they just had him like singing in his own head.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I love. That's
so
what I'm saying. Yeah.
funny.
Hey, it's like.
it was the funniest out of all the time heist ones, but it was also the reason that there was a big band. It was also the most, where they fucked up the most, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unintentionally too. That's kind of hard to predict that your signal would go out to your past self. That stuff is it's pretty crazy.
Your head Wi-Fi, you have to because you have to do the drop down and then turn off personal hotspot. You didn't do that.
Oh man. All right, let's talk about the big one, the one that lasted the longest because of, again, mistakes happen. So mistakes were made. You know, we had Banner, Tony, Steve Rogers, and gosh dang it, Scott Lang. Go to New York. Scott Lang seeing it for the first time up close and personal. We get the answer to where was the Ancient One during that situation, and we see Tilda Swinton reprise the role as the Ancient One. I like that scene. I really like how they sort of squeezed it in. They were like, oh yeah, she's busy defending the stone. You know, she thinks they might be coming after her, so she's not gonna put herself out there and expose herself.
I like that, but at the same time, I was wondering. I was like, well, who was asking that question? You know, like, well, what was she doing? And you're like, I don't know, probably the same thing everybody else is, freaking out or fighting or something.
Right. Yeah.
I never saw Doctor
She
Strange.
should have gone in and posed with the rest of the Avengers. You know, she was part of the fight.
It was this burning question watching Doctor Strange being like, oh, what's she doing? Avengers.
Yeah,
Right. Yeah.
Is it a thing?
She was on the roof.
They showed it off though.
Yeah.
Nonetheless.
I find it cool, and you know it fills your head canon. You're like, okay, it makes sense.
Right.
I get it. Respect.
What you would be doing.
Yes, right. That she'd be protecting something that would essentially be putting everyone else at risk. I love the fact that she did her whole like dimension punch on the Hulk, and you see Bruce Banner flying out
That was sick. That was pretty cool.
in the same
push.
vein. Yes, there we go. The astral push. That was so sick, and I love Mark Ruffalo's reaction to that. He's just like, what the man. What did you guys think when she said, she revealed, okay, like I know Strange isn't here, you're a couple of years too early. I got chills there because I was like, oh my god, she knows what's gonna happen and it's playing out how she knows it will. And then she was just like, oh, he's meant to be the best of us, so you being here means that he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah. Oh, go ahead, Darius.
Oh no, I was just saying, like, yeah, it's very canon. I mean, it is Doctor Strange, so I like that they play up his importance.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, it just shows us how much like she knew too. Like, they protect that time stone with everything, and she was like, right when he said, "Yeah, he just gave it away." She's like, "What? Okay, well, here you go." You know what I mean? Like, after all that conversation about, I'm never gonna give this up. Like, sorry, Bruce, you gotta find another way to do it. But like, that's how their commitment were deep. That's how deep it runs to protecting it. That she probably knew that giving it up was the only win. So I thought that was awesome, man. It's just, and you just always think back to that. It's like, man, he saw. That's how I kept thinking about the whole movie. Like, dude, he saw was like some millions of they only won once, and that always was like at the back of my head. Like, wow, that could just imagine how wrong all these other things could have went to. Like, I'm just thinking, what if the Hulk just woke up? Because technically, that's just Rage Hulk. Right?
Yeah.
Just laying there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's true.
And this time, I think they handle time really well. So I feel like the way they've chosen to do it is that certain things are immutable. So like Ant-Man coming back at some point is immutable. Yeah. Like, you can't change that fact. He will come back. Her knowing that Doctor Strange will become Doctor Strange is immutable. So like, there's certain facts that I feel like ground the story.
Yeah. That's true. That's very true. Man, there's so much in this. I can't believe they managed to keep this all straight.
Ant-Man, I love that nod, dude. When they went to the old like Ant-Man suit with the antennas, dude, I love that. I just breezed by it. I was like, oh, dude, it's like that's the original like Ant-Man looked like. I thought that was sick. It was very fast. So pan, I was like, oh, that's cool.
Oh man,
CGI in this movie was fantastic, man. By the way, God. Jesus, man. I was like, man.
Like, if you talk about CG that doesn't pull you out of the experience, like they do it so well that you're just like, you don't appreciate it because they do it so well. You're just like, okay, that's normal. Right. That's what's gonna happen there.
Well, like in the beginning, but we couldn't tell if that was really Tony Stark or if that was
right.
Really
That's true.
Oh man,
that's true.
We won't tell anymore.
Man, we'll never know, dude. They might have shot the whole movie in CGI. Gee, if I know.
Oh yeah, you do see a lot of scenes where it's just green screen, right? Like a lot of the behind the scenes stuff. It's like walls.
Thor probably was just like that's probably just CGI, dude. He's walking around normal.
Oh man, and we'll get to Thor and Rocket in a second. I wanna finish the Captain America and Tony Stark part. So, we get the first real blunder in this whole Back to the Future scenario, where they even reference Back to the Future, where they're like, "That's not how it works. That's not how time travel works," and it sort of is kind of how it worked. And so we had the fact that Ant-Man, Iron Man, and Captain America kind of messed up getting the Tesseract, even though they managed to get. They messed up getting the Tesseract quite hard, and they end up having to go back even further in time to the 70s, to early S.H.I.E.L.D., and we get a bit of a hint at Captain America's decision at the end when he sees Peggy in that little office room. Which I thought was a nice touch. Again, that whole part for me was like, okay, this is where it's like man versus himself, because they messed up. They said that this is your only chance. They figure out another way to do it, like Sisyphus would just pushing up that rock. And
how you said man versus himself, and Captain America literally fights himself. This scene.
Oh my god, that's so true! That's so true!
That's true, yeah.
Oh man.
That was pretty funny.
Yeah. America's ass fighting America's ass.
Yeah, right. I thought that was just. I think that part when you got to talk about the Peggy thing too, man, that just shows how hard it was for all of them. Like I think they almost all had like a like I don't know if I can do this. I kind of just want to stay right here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Exactly.
amongst Thor, we get to obviously in a minute, but he was like, you could tell Steve Rogers is like, man, I could just stay here right now and just talk. And then the Iron Man with his dad thing, man, that was so touching, dude. I love that.
Yeah.
But you have like his whole like the other movies. He's like, dude, my dad never cared about me, man. He's like, he didn't like love me or anything. And then he finds out like late, like after he's dead, and then now he got to go back, and I was like, it's like my heart, man. I was like, that was. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I want to go back to a scene real quick because I totally forgot to mention this, and I think everyone will appreciate the fact that we got a moment in comics history that was very much maligned, sort of played out in a. This is the best way to redo that, and it was very humorous. Where you get the elevator scene, which you think will end up the way it did in Winter Soldier.
Yeah, dude, it was exactly like this. Say you're right. I was like,
right?
This is so deja vu right here.
So you get this. You get the scene where Captain America is about to go down, and you think he's gonna fight Brock Rumlow and Sitwell and the rest of the gang in the elevator, and then all of a sudden he just leans in. No one sees this coming. He leans in and just goes and says, "Hail Hydra!" And you see the reaction of everyone, just like, yeah, that's the moment. That's the moment in the comics.
That was crazy, man.
And you just see everyone in the elevator just going like, "What? Is he in on this too?" And like, how deep does Hydra run?
Everybody just gave up. They're like, "Oh, okay, cool, yeah, all right, dude."
Yeah.
I just love that.
They're still pretty confused, right? Like, okay, I'm gonna have to call this in. No, it's cool. And you're just like, all right, I guess. Yeah. So like, Harris, I know you read I know you read comics as well, and out of all of us here, you probably had a deeper reaction to that than anyone else. What did you think at that specific moment?
I just thought it was awesome because I mean, there's plenty of moments like that sprinkled all throughout that movie where they just really very strong nods to the books.
Well, I was thinking about our shop too, and when that part of the story came out, people were so mad. They're like, I hate the new Captain America. Like, this sucks. Everything sucks about it. Like, I'm never gonna read it again. And so they have that moment, and I'm like, that's for you.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
It's so true because I love how you guys can bring this up, the moment and how it affected your customers and the community around you, and how like it was worldwide. It was a worldwide reaction where everyone was like, no, he's been Hydra this whole time, it makes no sense, blah blah. And this you really feel that this moment is like, okay, that all that kind of felt like it was worth it. Going through that for the couple of months that story was running in the comics, it feels like for this one, to set up this one brief moment, it was worth it. It's so good. Oh my god.
Yeah, and that's the trope they do in comics all the time too. So it's like that's why anybody that's been reading for more than a year probably knew when they saw that Hail Hydra picture. Like, yeah, it's comics. Like Death of Superman.
Oh.
Yeah. Anytime they do stuff like that, it's just a nice way to get people talking about their books usually too. So, I mean, that's usually a lot of time. But that series, Secret Empire, definitely got a lot of people's blood boiling for that.
Oh yeah, definitely. I totally agree. Oh man.
No,
all right, so let's.
Nods that they mentioned too in the movie as they come up as well.
Sorry, which one?
I was saying there's a couple other nods like that as well. Like jumping around a little bit as Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yes.
Oh, that was a good one.
Thor says that there's actually a book that recently came out like 6 months ago called As Guardians of the Galaxy. Nobody was super interested in it, but now the second after this movie ends, all those books are sold. Like all their prices for those books tripled.
Up. Yeah.
Oh, are you serious?
Because Thor said it once at the end of the movie.
Yeah, it is.
As Guardians of the so good. Yeah, you're right. Like it is sprinkled all throughout the movie, and it like we said earlier on, the fan service was on point. You know, like the fact that you wouldn't cringe. You'd feel the emotion of like, that's so funny, or oh, so good. Like that's exactly what you're looking for when you have homages like we got in Endgame.
Subtle.
Oh, sorry.
I said it's about the subtle nods.
Yes, exactly.
To the audience that will catch it.
Yeah. They trust that the audience will, which is what makes Marvel movies so good, you know. And oh my gosh, you can just go down the rabbit hole, which I wish we had enough time for. But let's speaking of time, let's go back in time, back to 1970. We see Jarvis, where we finally get the crossover between the Agent Carter movie, TV show, and the MCU. We haven't really gotten that the other way around. It's usually MCU characters going to the TV shows. So we finally got a little glimpse of the reverse of that, the upstream of that. And yeah, they succeed in getting the stone. They got more pin particles, and then we move on to Asgard, where Thor, in a lot of self-loathing, comes across his mom. You know, while Rocket attempts to go into an unused footage scene with Natalie Portman and get some of the ether out of her. But I like this. This was such a touching moment where, you know, a mother being a mother. You know, she's like, I'm here for you, but there's no need for you to worry about me. Like, that's such a parent thing to do, you know, where it's like, I got this. Don't worry about me. Let's talk about you. How are you feeling right now? That's such a
another immutable moment in time. Like they do that the whole story. That's another, like, it's not going to change. I've worked with witches. We're not talking about this. It's immutable.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. And yeah, like Thor getting it, you know, being able to finally just throughout the movie, he's felt like he's had to put up this whole persona of I'm okay, and he finally kind of gets to cut loose around his mom. I really enjoyed that because, again, you see the versatility of Chris Hemsworth. Yes, he's found this funny bone that the directors and producers and writers are starting to play at now, but at the same time, there's this guy who still manages to put all this emotion up to the surface and tell you, dude, he's going through a lot and he's worried about being worthy. That's his concern, you know. His whole destiny has been laid out in front of him, and he's like, wait, nothing's gone according to plan ever since.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Man, the entire time though, I was just thinking, they wasted pin particles in Thor. Man, they could have had another jump. He went back in time to just talk to his mom. I was like, what are you doing?
Thor 2, that's why. They're like,
yeah,
that's true.
They had to redeem Thor 2 a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh man, like yeah. So I mean, it's a funny point, Juancho, but I also loved how it was also a way for them to reel in Mjolnir for the final battle.
Yeah.
That was a good.
Yeah, that was good.
Because you tend to forget, like, oh yeah, it's gone. He's used Stormbreaker out of necessity as well. You know, it's not like he's had access to both. Like, Mjolnir's been gone since forever ago in our perspective. It's been pretty much years in our perspective, especially to them. You know.
Oh yeah.
He's gone through half a decade or more without it, and imagine the relief he felt of it flying to his hand, and he's just like, that another bit of emotion where he's so relieved. You tend to just take that for granted because you think, okay, yeah, of course he's worthy, of course he's Thor, but then the happiness, the joy he gets after half a decade or so of being depressed, of literally being depressed, and not in the millennial way where you're like, I'm so depressed. He was literally depressed.
He said he didn't, when he grabbed it, right? He was like, "I'm still." He said that, right?
Yeah, I'm still
like happy, like, oh, I'm still worthy.
worthy.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
man.
love it. That was
It's funny too, because I mean, if you think about it, Thor's character throughout these 11 years has probably lost the most of anybody.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Brother, in this like that second one, he loses his mom, and Thor Ragnarok, he loses Odin.
Mm-hmm.
He
Yeah.
loses his entire home, his home planet,
Well,
flat
the-
planet thing.
Lost his girl. Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
God, man.
The Infinity Wars, he loses like half of the Asgardians twice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he loses
Yeah,
he
you're
loses a
absolutely
brother
right.
he finally got. A brother who's been reluctant to embrace
Since
Yeah.
yeah, right. That bond that they've shared. He finally thought he was getting a chance with his brother, and then that all gets erased. And yeah, he really has lost the most. That's a good point. And the fact that he's kept it together this well is kind of that's godly. That's pretty godly.
Well,
Yeah.
he's gotten to grow in a sense of humor about it. So
Speaking of sense of humor,
Yeah.
all I could think of when he was calling Mjolnir was like, "Hey, it's Mjolnir."
Yeah, right? Yeah. It's Mjolnir. Yeah.
Oh my god, I miss Kat Dennings in these movies. I miss Kat Dennings.
Yeah.
All right. Wow, a lot of emotions to process. So, all of this leads up to them retreating back to Avengers HQ up north of New York, and they've collected all the stones. They try and figure out, okay, what's the best way to do this? Who is gonna do the snap? Who's gonna unsnap everything? Of course, you have Thor, who still has all that emotion weighing him down. Still able to pass it up though. Not Iron Man. Who else offers their hand? Because aside from Banner, there's one more person at least, and it ends up being the Hulk. You see the glove
Thor.
enlarge. Was it just Thor?
I think Thor. Yeah, Thor and Hulk. I don't remember.
Thor and Hulk. Yes, the competition for strongest Avenger still raging on. And yeah, you see the Hulk putting it on, as in the background we see Nebula, us the audience see Nebula trying to patch Thanos through that little time hole that they've created. Because if you've seen the movie, Nebula, old Nebula whacks current time Nebula and replaces her and takes the jump. But we'll get to that later on. Yeah, so it comes back in this scene, where the Hulk, with all the buildup, takes the gauntlet with all the stones in it and unsnaps or snaps, and you get this pause where no one knows what's happening. Like, did it work? Because they lock down the entire facility and it's pretty grim outside. Yeah. And then the shutters start coming up. And in the strangest of fashions, where we definitely can't do this moment justice. You get Clint Barton's wife, Linda Cardellini, who's been Velma and among other roles, is the one calling Hawkeye on the phone, and you start getting that sense like, oh my gosh, they did it.
It worked.
Everything is working out. But in that exact same, oh sorry, go.
The last 5 years.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I was just showing that joke.
It's just funny. It's like it's true. It's true. Yeah.
Maybe for the survivors, they were like, for your loved ones, we'll leave this open to give you guys hope.
Damn.
At a distant rate.
And
Whoa.
I guess their phones disappeared with them then.
Oh,
Off topic.
Yeah.
oh my gosh. But yeah, so you get the moment where you start to think, all right, things are going right. And then this is the part for me where I was like, all right, this is going down. Thanos bursts through that time tunnel, wrecks it, where I start to think, okay, there's no going back, I guess. Even though I'm proven wrong later on. And the bigger climax happens where the rest of the Avengers facility starts breaking down because they start shooting at Thanos' ship starts shooting at the facility, and it all comes down on them. And in a callback to the comics, when everyone is more or less awake, you see the Hulk holding up the facility to make sure that no one gets crushed. Well, no one yet gets crushed. And I love that moment, as I've loved a lot of moments throughout this movie. And it all builds up to the final battle. It takes us a while to get from that point to the final battle. But, you know, you get Thor, Iron Man, and Captain America walking out to get that fight with Thanos. You know, that long-awaited fight against Thanos. And it's just the three of them, because everyone else is either buried under rubble or knocked out. And we don't know what the heck is going on everywhere else. And your attention is focused on this one fight. And I was surprised initially, because it's a callback to the moment in the first Avengers movie where they meet. You know, they're obviously the three sort of pillars of the Avengers.
Yeah.
And then, you know, you get this moment where Thor summons Stormbreaker and Mjolnir, and the lightning comes out, and you get an unmasked Tony Stark and Captain America there.
Cool,
a lot of people were hoping that Thor would lose the belly at this exact moment when the lightning would strike him.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be.
Oh, sure, that was gonna happen.
But no, he rolled with it. They rolled with it, dude. It's just, he still got fight. He's like, I don't care. This bill ain't gonna stop me. It's I love it.
Come on, like I think I enjoyed that they kept to that character, because you got to give the chubby people love. Like,
yeah,
like,
definitely.
Beard too was like,
and
it got
like
braided, the lightning braided it, right?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Sorry, Aris, you were saying.
Oh no, I was just saying. I think he made a better Volstagg than Volstagg in the actual first.
Yeah.
That's how that
That's
character.
so true. That's so freaking true. And you know, I love the look. I honestly like. I did enjoy it, but it did sort of take me a bit in this moment to be like, okay, he's gonna come out swinging like this, and like this. And the more I thought about it, the more it seemed cool to me, because there is that part where, yes, you know, people with all sorts of bodies should be represented, but at the same time, it's such an amazing moment where you think like, wow, this is where it's come to. You know, he's fought through all of this PTSD and he's gotten to this moment, and at the same time, he looks like a freaking Viking. You know, he looks like a Viking king who's done conquering. He's done all of it, and you know what? One last battle, and it's so cool to me that they pulled it off, and they had the balls to do it. You know, not many. You know, a lot of production companies would have been like, yeah, this is the part where he gets thin again and he looks super sexy. No, this is still fucking sexy. This is still pretty badass.
God.
He had Odin's son's body, dude. Seriously, pretty much. Yeah, it was just like a tribute almost. The beard and everything.
Right? I found it so awesome that they kept this, and you know, of course they go start fighting Thanos. Thor gets knocked down somewhere near the end of this initial fight, and then you see Mjolnir swinging across the head of Thanos, and you're like, wait a second, did Thor summon this with his hand, which is trying to prevent himself from being decapitated? And then you see it swinging back, and then you see Steve Rogers with his hand out, and you're like, what is going on?
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah.
That was so awesome.
That was the moment, like, just everyone in the cinema started shouting.
Yeah, I know. Same. Yeah, same. That was so sick.
That's awesome.
It really was in my cinema as well. I'm pretty sure everyone's movies. That's what happened. Thoughts on this, guys? Let's get thoughts on this, because this is probably one of the biggest moments in the movie, and no one saw this. I had no idea this was coming.
Yeah, I mean, you weren't. I wasn't even expecting Mjolnir to be in this movie at all, right? And then suddenly you have someone else wielding it, but it's not out of nowhere too. I love that it was foreshadowed in the Age of Ultron scene, right?
Yeah, Ultron. Yeah.
So just it was a payoff you weren't expecting, and it feels good.
Yes. Let's get Eris in the shell. Thoughts, guys?
I don't know if you can see it. I'm like tearing up right now thinking about it again.
It's so awesome. It was so awesome.
mean, really, there's nothing else to be said except for it's just a moment in the movie. That's just worth it in itself.
Yes.
If nothing else, for that scene.
Yeah. I would have to.
Just
Derek,
about-
man. Oh, sorry. Derek, man, your thoughts on the moment where Captain America.
God, that was awesome, man. It's kind of like where Juancho was at. It's the payoff you didn't expect, and I just remember that exact moment. I was like this on my seat, and then also when it happened, I was like no, and then everyone was like, yeah. I was like, oh, kind of like kind of did it with him because like, damn, that feels so good. Like, yeah, go. I was so sick, and then man, the best part was like. He was just so good with it, man. Like when he brought the lightning down to strike on Thanos, I was like, "Oh my god, that was so sick, dude!"
Dude,
and
when he was like, throwing both the hammer and the shield to ricochet, I was like,
"Damn, the Cap, man, that's Cap right there for you." And oh yeah, dude, that's so awesome. I know he's done it. I haven't personally read him in the comics, but I know he's done it a couple times, and that's. Just to see it, dude, I mean, that's like, to see it on live action screen, what people have probably read, like, that is awesome, dude. And it's like at the best part of the movie, man, and it was just like, and that was like the time it turned the tables, honestly. Like, that was so sick, dude. And then that was funny, the funny, Thor's like, I knew it, he was worth it. The same guy that was so scared when he, like, barely lifted it in two, he was like, and then he's like, I knew it.
Yeah,
that was funny.
You
it was
also
awesome,
get that
man.
feeling of like, how you always root for the underdog, and in the trio while they're fighting Thanos, you're subtly thinking, what's Captain America gonna do? He's outmatched, and he goes from being outmatched to being the MVP, and it's it's awesome.
Yeah, that was it. It was awesome.
Yeah.
God,
I mean,
I want to watch it again.
Yeah, man. So like,
see, that's why I'm going tomorrow, dude. Like, now we're talking about it, I'm like, I'm so happy. Like when Harold played that first trailer, I'm like, I'm so happy. I was like, dude, this is gonna make me want to watch it so much more again.
Yeah, man. Like that moment, I would love to have described it better, but I gotta admit, I was trying to fight back tears at that moment. I was kind of like. My vision was a little blurry, guys. Like I couldn't really see so much. I couldn't really see so much in that moment. But like I saw some flashes of lightning. I think.
Yeah, right. Like, oh, yeah, exactly.
That was so good. And yeah, like I love the combos. The shield, hammer, shield. Like, oh my god. Like
all their teamwork when they were fighting, man. That was just like OG. Like, you know what I mean? Kind of like. And I love that. That's what I wanted. In the other movies, you didn't see a lot of it. You saw a little bit in Ultron, they were working together. Because I think after one in Ultron, obviously a couple years passed, and you could tell their teamwork was pretty cool. Like when he hits the hammer and the shield, and in the fight, you can kind of see they still got that like flow together, and I love that. It's like no matter how long apart they were, they still got that like synergy. There you go. That was the word I'm looking for.
Yeah,
and it was.
Wasn't there even a moment where Tony asks Thor to charge him up with some lightning?
Yeah, dude, that was sick. That was sick. That was awesome, man.
Which was a callback to when they first met, too.
Oh yeah,
he
that's right.
gave him a lot of juice.
Yeah.
Dang. So much in this movie. So, yeah, as badass as that moment was, unfortunately it wasn't enough to defeat Thanos. But with Captain America being the last one standing for the moment, all of a sudden we hear in the communicator in his ear a familiar voice. Yeah, you hear a Falcon of sorts. Yo Cap, can you read me? And then so many payoffs. He just goes off and says, "On your left," and at that moment, I start bawling. Bawling, man. All the freaking emotions start coming up, and I'm tearing up again right now. And like, you start seeing all these Doctor Strange style, the rings, the teleportation rings,
man, yeah.
And then I freaking lose it, man. I'm just like, no, they're doing it. They're doing it.
I almost stood up at that part. It was just like just slow clap. I almost was like, God, dude, That was so awesome. Funny that I even heard Howard the Duck was there like in a split second.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
I didn't see it. I'm gonna try to catch it maybe tomorrow, but I heard it was just like right at the Ravagers, and dude, that part was so amazing, man. That was beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh man, like if you were expecting something that would be worth watching 20 some odd movies and to get to one moment, this was like the perfect moment.
Dude, it was grand, dude. It was
Beautiful.
Yeah,
That's-
it was.
That's exactly what you call it, right? It was just absolutely beautiful, and it just it literally captures your imagination and puts it on a screen and just tells you this is, when you first heard Iron Man was getting a movie, and you imagine all the battles that could be happening. This is it in your face. We're gonna throw it at you. You could hear Feige just literally screaming at directors, being like, "Let's make it happen!"
Yeah.
My gosh, and I can't imagine something that could be this satisfying, and like it's a generational event, and it's taken so much hard work to get to that one moment, and that last beautiful fight scene, and my gosh, I'm trying not to cry as I'm talking about it. It's so hard not to, but
Something like a side note here, but something really beautiful about this and what we're doing right now is that I watched Iron Man with the I'm pretty sure it's with the Green Giant FM team with Hart.
Oh wow.
And we watched it together, and we had this. Oh my god! I definitely know James was there, but we had this giant, no idea what it was. It was just like this cool movie we were gonna watch, and we came out just freaking out and having such a good time with it, and full circle to this moment now. And man, it's just they really took us on our journey from start to. It's so beautiful, man.
You know what's even crazier is that technically right now we're all connected because of Green Giant. If you think about it.
Yeah, that's freaking.
Wow.
And Art there, and then Juancho was 2 batches under me. Dude, that's just crazy. I just think that's insane.
That's so beautiful, man. That's so
It's so crazy, dude. It's just insane.
And I'm sure Eris has had some frozen vegetables from Green Giant. Like, it's all full circle. It's all come full circle.
I've never had those.
and we end from us being DJs there to now we own a comic book coffee shop at this perfect moment in time and get to enjoy it with such amazing people.
Exactly.
Dude,
Beautiful. Really beautiful.
I can't. When's the next time you're gonna feel this? I remember, when I was watching that scene, I had Helm's Deep feeling. The first time I watched Lord of the Rings, and I watched Helm's Deep, and I saw Gandalf riding with Riders of Rohan. Yeah. That feeling, that was the last time I felt that feeling until Endgame. And now I'm thinking, when is it gonna be this grand again? When are we gonna get this? And then because after watching Endgame, I was gonna go into Game of Thrones. I was like, oh, I'm gonna get that feeling again, and I didn't get it.
No.
I didn't capture it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's hard to just imagine how much work it took to have this happen. Everything aligned up well, and a lot of it was luck. A lot of it was freaking just the sheer will of geeks that were reading comic books before we were even born, and now they're at positions where they can make this happen. A lot of people behind the scenes. I know Kevin Feige gets a lot of praise, and I know the directors and the actors get a lot of praise, but so many people behind the scenes that we will probably never hear their name, probably were in the credits somewhere, made this happen, and to be able to fully appreciate it's just going to take so long. But at the same time, the fact that we felt all this throughout the movie is just, oh my god, it's incomprehensible how good this feels.
Yeah.
And the most we could do is talk about it, because that's the most human thing we can do, is just share the experience with other people that, oh man, I can't even put words on it without crying. It's just so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
it was grand, dude. It was grand. They did everything. They pulled out all the stops, and it was perfect, man. It's just everything in that end was just like perfect. That fight, and I loved how they didn't just give one person they spread it, like they gave credit to every person. They went to every area, you saw everyone, and I was like, man, I was like, then this is it. Like, this is the big fight right here. Yeah, man, that feels all in that moment for sure, man. It's
yeah,
but I will tell you, I got some comic relief from that part when obviously, like, one of the most badass moments when all the girls teamed up, which gotta say, dude, Scarlet is probably the strongest Avenger. She would have almost killed Thanos right there if he didn't shoot down. But like, I thought it was funny when she was like, "You took everything from me." Thanos was like, "I don't even know who you are." I laughed so hard.
What an asshole!
I was like, "Oh my god, dude, it's so funny." Because it makes sense, right? Because she doesn't know, dude. She thinks he just got snapped in a second, so she's thinking it's the same Thanos. And he's like, "I don't even know who you are." I was like, damn.
That's
Like, God, thank you, comedy, for saving my
actually
tears
that's true. They
flowing.
don't know that this is a different Thanos.
Exactly.
Huh?
I don't think it's the
Everyone's
same
got
one
Thanos.
that got dusted. I think it's all the same Thanos. And I was just like, that like saved my tears from flowing. I was like, oh, damn you. I'm like, thank you, Thanos, dude. Of all people with a funny one-liner,
Yeah. And there's just so much in that final battle scene that you could dissect, and it could take hours.
Man.
But like, the fact that everything you wanted, some things you didn't even know you wanted, like when you see the A-Force, so all the women of the Avengers just walking together, and you're like, what?
That was badass.
My God.
With it, because I know everybody's nitpicking it, and yes, it was definitely fan service, and yes, I definitely bought it and loved it, but I wish there was a bit of a reason, like even if it was a throwaway reason, I wish there was a little bit of a reason for all the women to be together, even if it was like all the guys, because the guys were fighting early on to say like, hey, oh, we're tired, or like, oh, we fell down, or I don't know, something to like conveniently put them to be like, don't worry, we got this.
Right? Yeah.
They have their own Bluetooth. They're like, okay, sign this, sign the group up.
Good morning.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. There's just so much in that. Like, I'm sure we're forgetting certain moments because, how could you put all of that into words?
I know it's tough, man. It's so. I will say the only one thing I really wanted to see was I wanted to see Bruce go all out, but unfortunately I didn't see that. But it was. I mean, granted, that didn't really change anything. But like, I really wanted, like, I thought the Hulk was gonna fight that dude, and then
I'm sure he
Scott
was
just
fighting.
stepped on him. I was like, okay, that works. Yeah,
I'm sure he's fighting somewhere there in the background, maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe one-handed. Just taking out all the minions one-handed.
all the army just
And there still might be more Hulk appearances. I mean, have they written?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Definitely. Oh man. So let's finish up the battle. So like we talked about, it's long, and it's every single second is worth it. And then you get to the end, where after all of this struggle, Thanos still ends up with the gauntlet with the gems in it, and he just tells everyone that I am inevitable. That line, that freaking line. At that moment, I was like, what? This is how we're ending this? It's going to happen again? And then you realize the gems aren't there after he snaps. And then this culmination of every single moment since the first Iron Man, where you see pretty much like a bunch of energy and light getting sucked up towards him. And you see Tony Stark with his glove and the gems in it. And then he just says, I am. At that moment, I was I was thinking to myself, there's no way he can say anything after I am that would feel cool, because Thanos just said inevitable. There's no line that you can say because there's such a pause to it, and then he says Iron Man, and I just fucking lose it. I just start crying, and I'm just like, no, that's perfect. It's so perfect. And then you start flashing back to.
I started when you saw the gems come up and he did this. I was like, I gasped, dude. Like, I was so loud. I was like, no. And I was like, no. And then Oh god, yeah, that was
right.
that line,
And then you
yep.
get the
line.
flashback to when he first stands over that podium at the end of Iron Man, and he says the same
God.
line, and you're just
God,
like,
yeah.
wow, how are you doing this to me? How are you doing this? Like, I'm long enough in this world where I've become cynical towards story, where I'm like, there's no way you can make me feel the way I felt like when I was a kid. And then that moment just makes you feel like, yes, this whole movie is what makes you like, you feel like a kid again, no matter what freaking age you are. You know, like you could have grown up in the golden age of comics and then just seen this movie and you're just like, wow, oh my gosh. And you know, unfortunately, that does mean that Tony makes the ultimate sacrifice. He makes the sacrifice play that Cap was talking about since the first time they met. He laid down on the wire and made the sacrifice play for every single person in the world to walk over him, to cross over and say, I'm going to live the rest of my life. And a lot of them might not even know. A lot of them might not even appreciate the sacrifice that he paid. He left a family behind that he only spent 5 years with. He left a protege. He left so much behind. And then you get all of that in the funeral, because every person that has had contact with Tony is brought out in the funeral. Even Harley freaking Keener, who was much maligned throughout the Iron Man 2 story arc because people were saying, why a kid? Why have a kid there?
Season 3, right?
Iron Man 3.
Oh, sorry, Iron Man 3.
Yeah.
And you know, a lot of people were saying that was too much. And then with the same way that Thor: The Dark World was kind of sort of redeemed, you know, Harley Keener being there in an adult form, you know, everyone feels the payoff of that scene. You know, everyone sees that, okay, this is such a Tony Stark thing to do, to invite this kid who had such an impact in his life to his funeral. You know, imagine being Harley Keener, waking up one day with Happy Hogan in your living room and your mom telling you, oh, we have some news, and then being whisked away. You know, like all the stuff that wouldn't even be shown on screen, and you just imagine that. Like, that's such a Tony thing to do, to have him be there for you know, his final moments. And that's oh man, it's freaking deep, man. The story writing, the directing, everything, the acting. Oh my gosh. I'll
tell you, when I first lost it, man, it's the same person who made me lose it in Infinity War. It's goddamn you, Tom Holland, dude. When he embraced Tony in the first in Infinity, I lost it. And then when he was like Mr. Stark, and I was like, come on, dude, don't even start. He's choking up, and I was like, God, and then that's made me lose it there. And I actually thought this would be cool to bring up too. As someone pointed this out in the movie, they said they kind of like maybe a foreshadow too, when they put their arms together in the time travel. I don't know if you guys can see it.
Oh man.
Looks like the proof that Tony Stark thing. I saw that too on Facebook later. I was like, man, that actually, and it's the same amount of the red and everything. I was like, wow. But yeah, dude, that was, and that it wasn't even that, man. It was like after that they had so many little things that like people who really watched the first couple, like everything, would understand, like the cheeseburger line. Oh my god, dude, I lost it again right there. Because you saw Happy was like, yeah, I'll get you. I was like, oh god, dude. I was like, that made me go again. I was like, shoot, man, come on. It was like the cheeseburger line. So people who are watching in chat, if they don't know of you guys, that's what he said to Happy when he rescued him. He's like, I want to make a cheeseburger. I was like, God, good Nod. Good job, Marvel. Yeah.
Burger King.
Yeah, Burger King. That's right. Yeah, Burger King. That's right. That's right. And everyone was like, yep. To McDonald's.
Man, I want a burger now.
I will say that the final Tom Holland scene with Pepper Potts, I don't hit me hard, and that to me that was Pepper's moment, and it was kind of like they put Tom Holland in there. For me, it would have been. I think they kind of gave him a few too many lines, and I think it would have been more powerful. You see him on the other side of the field. Tom Holland's there, seeing Tony make that sacrifice, and then he just runs over to him like, no. That would have been, like, say nothing. Just use your acting. It's hit us before. It would have done it again. And if he had just done that, like, that was the one little thing that I was like, Tom, you don't need to attack. Like, just say it with your face. Like, I get it. It's gonna hurt. You lost your dad, basically.
I thought it was kind of messed up, actually, that Pepper Potts had to pull Tom Holland out. I was like, wait, no, Pepper should be crying. It should be switched.
Peter, get over here.
But I feel like she's always had that, like, like she knows Tony more than anybody. She's like, it's almost like she knew, like, Actually, I think I lied though. I think the moment I knew I started to tear up was when he looked at Strange and he said,
"Oh yeah,"
and I was like, "Uh-oh." I was like, "Oh shit." Fuck, that got me. But yeah, damn.
Actually, Stephen Strange is also an MVP. None of the backup would have been there without Doctor Strange.
Oh,
yeah.
Underrated Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
But yeah, so many, when Pepper says that he could rest now, I was like, wow, what else could you say to make it feel so?
That one got me too.
Oh my gosh, it was so satisfying.
Imagine there are 4 Avenger movies, and out of the 4 of them, in 3 of them, Tony Stark dies. He has that moment. So it's just true. You can finally rest now. Like every time you see these guys, you die, but now you can rest.
Oh man, that's so true. Like you don't have to keep coming back anymore. This is fuck.
That's first when he fell, and the second one with Ultron with him almost dying by trying to bring it back, and then you had the Infinity War. Yeah, you're absolutely right. That's true.
Gosh.
Yeah, that scene hit hard too, especially that it's always been about Thanos for Tony, man. He's always had nightmares.
Oh yeah.
That was his thing in the MCU, man. That's every nightmare, never could stop thinking about it. Everything he did was because of how it first started. So it's just yeah.
Man, low key though, when he had his arm up and when he said "I am," I actually thought they're gonna make a joke out of it. I thought they're gonna say "I am a playboy, billionaire playboy philanthropist." That entire line. I thought he was gonna say that again. I'm glad he didn't. I'm glad he said Iron Man.
Yeah, there's an outtake of that.
Yeah. Feels.
Okay. To prevent this from running too long to the point that I'm only gonna be crying and not saying words anymore, let's give our final, as long as you want, give your final thoughts, and then we'll do our ratings after. Let's
I actually want to ask you all something too before we do that.
Did anyone else
did any of you guys else? I got sad when I saw Captain America sitting there. That I hit anybody else? I knew he was alive, but it was just really sad to me that he was older, and I was like, you just knew it, dude. You're like, man, he went back, you stayed, and you saw him sitting there, and I was tearing up like a lot. I was like, man, no.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm glad you brought that up.
Hit me hard. It just did. Yeah, that was emotional for me for some reason. It's hit me hard.
I'm so glad you brought that up because I was gonna skip over that. So at the end of everything, Cap also gets his happy ending. Cap, no one else would have been able to bring all the stones back because no one else could bring Mjolnir back as well. So he was the only one who could actually do it.
That's awesome.
That's
true. Always does.
Yeah.
That's true. So he goes back in time, puts all the stones back, and then instead of coming back to present day time, as Hulk says, he should have been here by now. He misses his mark. We already had I'm pretty sure at this point you would have already had allusions to why. And then you find out because Sam and Bucky see him in the distance. He stays. He ends up staying with Peggy, growing old, having his own life. I think there are a ton of theories on what happened, timelines and dimensions and stuff. I personally, I just think he's the type of person that wouldn't mess with the past. He's been through enough to know what that would do. But that aside, the moment where he hands the shield to Sam Wilson, he's old, wrinkled Cap, and he hands the shield to Sam Wilson. I just think this is the best time to have a black Captain America. And the way he does it too, where Sam says it feels like someone else's, and he says it's not. Is anyone ever really ready to have greatness thrust upon them? you know.
I actually thought he was gonna give it to Bucky. I was surprised, to be honest.
Oh, really?
Well, I mean, Bucky was, you know, for a long time. Well, I don't know if a long time, but he was it before Sam was, at least. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
But they kind of jumped past it. So I don't know. But dude, there's gonna be a lot of movies. They both, I think, signed up for a lot more movies. So you never know.
Yeah, they have their own
Yeah.
show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
America.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah. So. Oh, thanks, Derek. I was totally gonna glaze over that. Anyone?
No, yeah, dude,
guys-
that one hit me good, just as hard almost. Cause it's just like just knowing when you saw him sitting there, I was like, oh. And dude, see, that's the thing for me that like the whole time in the movie, I'm sure a lot of people were. You just think, okay, Chris Evans announced it. We all know he's done. You're thinking that he's going out with a bang, but it wasn't him, dude. That would ever think it would have been Iron Man, and that's what also hit me harder. Was like, dude, what? And I'm like, that's like Steve's thing, right? That should be Steve, and it wasn't. And then it was just even sadder, man. It's like he goes out his own way, which is very emotional as well. But that idea that, like, you know, I was always thinking, went to the whole movie like, okay, how is he gonna go out? And it wasn't him. And I was like, damn.
Dude, I actually thought he died when he got punched in the face. Like,
right.
Like, it was really
kinda,
fast. He got punched in the face, and then he's just
and then
down.
he kinda just,
I was like, oh my god, is he just dead there?
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It was just very shocking, dude. Very shock factor. This movie was through the roof.
Yeah. Oh man. Okay. Ares and Lachelle, give us your thoughts on the movie. And yeah, take as long as you want. Take as long as you want.
Yeah, you're gonna regret those.
Yeah.
I loved it, honestly. It was an amazing journey for myself, and I mean, the Iron Man was the first book character I started reading, first Marvel character I started reading about in the mid '90s. So it was definitely had some emotional resonance there, having this character that I grew up with, my childhood hero, essentially kind of go out the way it did on screen. But so it was a lot of mixed feelings there. But all in all, I was really happy the way they did it, and they did it in a really satisfying way that really tied up the story and gave everybody a satisfying ending, and gave the viewers and the fans just tons of fan service throughout the movie. Just not even in terms of the movies that you'd watch, but if you'd watched the movies and read the books, then you got the most out of it. So I thought that was really awesome that they were able to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if this reaction will play, but I was an emotional wreck after. I was an emotional wreck after this this movie. When we got in, people were crying in their cars, and I was like just trying to hide, and I kind of didn't understand it. And when I walked out, I was just like, cover me, I don't want to see anyone, like, please don't. They did a beautiful job. This is a full circle for, you know, the movies, but also for its fans and the lives we've spent following these characters and the impact they've had. So whether you like it, whether you hate it, they did a thing, and it was a very beautiful thing.
Oh man, those are really nice words. Juancho, man, go next.
Yeah, like I said, this movie made me feel like a kid again. Like, I haven't felt this way since watching Lord of the Rings. And man, it was a ride. It was a ride. You really felt that the people who made this movie, like, really understood their fans. Like, all the callbacks were spot on, all the little Easter eggs were spot on, and yeah, it was just great. It was a ride, and I can't wait for what comes next. I love that, to the point they understand. Like, they understand to the point where they actually kicked Star-Lord in the balls, and I just love that. I loved
it. Derek, your turn, buddy.
Well, man, so it's a long time. First movie, I think technically was probably the Marshmallow Hulk, but that obviously doesn't mean anything. But it's just sad, man. It's just I always think back to the first Iron Man, and you have Nick Fury in the end. And you just said I'm putting together a team, and at that moment you're just like, man, I can't wait to see what this turns out to be. And like, that didn't even feel like that long ago, and it's like it's done, dude. It's sad, and they did it so well. And like I'm usually in movies, I'm pretty like sensitive. Like I'll cry like on easy things, and when I know like when I feel like people around me, like dude, I was like I don't really cry that hard in movies. Like I do, like not in a lot. I cried pretty hard in here, and I was in the theater, and I don't like doing that in front of people a lot. You try to do it to myself, you know. Like if I'm watching with like my wife or something, I can just sob. But man, when you could do that and you know everyone else around you is just they feel it, man. That's how much it impacted everybody. Was that I was just sobbing. I knew the person to the left and right of me was doing the same thing, and it hit home, man. And it was like kind of like Juancho said. I'm excited what's to come, and I'm hoping they don't, you know, they kind of let it build just like they did. It took 10 years, man, and they did it perfect. I wouldn't have changed anything the way they did it. So I'm really happy, and I hope that we get that same. Maybe when our kids will in the future will eventually be able to enjoy that we did, you know. So yeah, it was a great movie. I'd say I give the movie a 3,000 rating.
We'll get to that in a second. Oh man, you're throwing out feels before I can even talk. Damn you. Okay. Where do I start? When I first heard about Robert Downey Jr. getting cast, like I talked about when we had Erson, Lachelle, and Tio on the Geekcast, I thought perfect casting. I can't imagine a whole universe of all these movies with amazing casting, but I hope they pull it off. And up until this point, you know, they pretty much have. My earliest memories of the Avengers on the big screen are the Ultimate Avengers, which was a cartoon a couple years back, like right before the MCU happened. And I just thought to myself, if they could do this on the big screen with live action, with actual actors, that would be the dream. And up until recently, it really was just a dream. And goddamn, there's, you know, to be able to feel emotions like this almost thrice yearly, and have them all pay off in something that would make a grown man cry without shame around other people, you know, that's an achievement, because they've done more than give comic book fans what they deserve. They've given the whole world these characters who were once only on pages. You know, they've reached a number of people that I don't think I would have imagined until it has happened. So I think, you know, what they've done at Marvel Studios and what they've done at Disney and all the folks involved is they've given us, some of us, our childhoods back. They've given a lot of us, I hope people see it as, you know, I hope people see it as they've given us the ability to dream again. And God damn it, let me cut to everyone. Woo! My word. And you know, the fact that anyone can create something like this, from a Jewish guy and his buddy in New York, to an amazing artist in the Philippines like Miko Sawaya, and you know, all the, you know, it's possible to make something that'll make people cry and feel. And you know, it's just about appreciating it as it happens, and you know, looking back on it fondly. And like I said earlier on, it's the human experience to be able to share it with wonderful people. And you know, that's all you can get from this is my gosh. All right, let's get to ratings.
It's like
let's
what
get
Mickey
to ratings,
said, man. It's just what a good time to be alive, man. We get to experience this, man, and take it all in.
You have to imagine too that this movie is gonna inspire all the other kids to be like, it's gonna, it introduces them to comic books and stuff. It's gonna inspire them to make an even better movie in the future, right? This is the basis. This is gonna be their base. You'll be like, oh, I wanted to make a movie like Infinity War, you know? I wanted to make something like that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. All right.
Damn.
I know it's tough. Let's power through this. Juancho, give us your rating out of 10.
Damn it! It's Derek's rating. It can't be anything but Derek's rating, dude. 3,000.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah. Eris, Michelle.
3,000.
Sweet.
Across the board.
Derek, say it again for the folks at home.
You know, before I say the 3,000, you guys know me. I don't ever. 10 out of 10. 3,000.
3,000.
All the way, man.
I love this movie. 3,000. I love this fucking entire creative venture. 3,000. How can you make a bunch of people feel shock at the end of a movie like you did in Infinity War, then lift every single one of us up again at the end of Endgame? You people are magical.
Thank you, Stan Lee, too, man. Thank you, Stan Lee.
Jack Kirby, Stan Lee, all of you guys. It's all the amazing artists that have contributed. Jim Starlin, who created Thanos, who could have easily gone to DC. Sorry, Eris, was that?
I said Steve Ditko.
Oh, Steve Ditko. Freaking Steve Ditko, man. Like, to be able to share this experience with a lot of people who, by time, by environment, have gone cynical to certain levels, and bring this out of us. It's a feat. It's a feat. My word, I love this movie 3,000, and I think we can all agree. Oh, my word.
Damn.
Stan Lee's smiling right now, man. Smiling down. Big ol' smile. I know it, man. I know it.
It's so
he
good.
Did all this, man. I know, man. It's
so good. All right. Well, we gotta end strong. All right, we gotta end strong.
Yes.
Ooh.
Excelsior.
Let's do this. Excelsior. All right.
Don't end it with that. Damn it.
Shake it off, guys. All right, shake it off. Here we go. We want to thank everyone for tuning in to today's episode, and especially if you're listening to the YouTube video, the VODs, or listening to us on your podcatchers or on Spotify. Thank you for sticking out with us this long. We've had a bunch of people in the chat making comments. You guys have been so awesome, and thank you so much. We're sorry we couldn't get to everyone because there was just so much to unpack. We'll probably tackle some of these in the after show, and I'll be sure to clip that and have that as a separate thing. But yeah, we want to thank every single one of you who stopped by, who are listening right now or listening somewhere else. Thank you to all our followers, all our subscribers, all our bit cheers. You guys are all awesome, and because of you, we get to geek out like this and throw our hearts out almost on a weekly basis on the internet. And like the MCU a couple of years ago, this would have just been a dream. So thank you so much. And I just want to throw it to you guys. Juancho, man, where can everyone at home find you when you're not on the Quetzalcoatl Geekcast?
You can find me through my Twitter, which is @SaldanaWancho, and my Instagram, which is @Juancho Saldana. Sorry, your speech just got me riled up, dude. So I'm just like, I forgot my name there for a sec.
Oh man. Eris and the Shell, that's all, folks. Where can people find you when you're not on the Quetzalcoatl Geekcast?
That's right. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, at panelscoffee.com, or at panels on all the social media sites.
At Panels Coffee. And at panelscoffee.com is our website. Sorry, we're all flustered now. Also, you can always find us in Oceanside if you're ever in the area. Stop by.
713 Mission.
Let me throw that up on screen for everyone watching the video, because I didn't get to do this properly at the start. Check them out at Panels Coffee.
Go support your local comic shop.
Oh yes, exactly. Support your local comic shop. Oh my word. They have amazing comics. They have amazing coffee. Check them out. 713 Mission Ave, Suite A, Oceanside, California. These guys are awesome. And tomorrow is 2 days is free comic book day. Make sure to stop by. They have a lot of things going on in the shop. So please do swing by. Oh, my word. Derek, Sensei, Humor.
Yes.
Where can people at home find you when you're not on the Quit Stalling Geekcast?
You can find me on Twitch at Humor Sensei. Sensei Humor. God damn it. Sensei Humor. Oh, God. On everything. It's on YouTube. Yeah, I'm there. Usually Monday to Fridays. I'm here on Thursdays, every Thursday with Herald and Juancho. And sometimes Juancho's on the stream with us, too. So, we always talk about stuff like this, too, guys. So we appreciate everyone watching today. Just please come back, guys. This is what we live for, you know? So, yes, you can find me there. How about you, Harold? Can they find you?
Oh man, we lost internet. We lost connection to the stream.
Oh God!
But it doesn't matter because I would have struggled to find more words to string together. You guys can find me on Twitter, on Instagram at Herald Plays. You can find all our shows here on Quit Stalling. Facebook.com/QuitStallingUs. We're on Twitter at QuitStallingUs. You can find us on Instagram, on Twitch, on YouTube at QuitStalling, or twitch.tv/QuitStalling, or youtube.com/QuitStalling. We swear we don't cry this much in the other shows.
Unless it's some laughter or cries, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. But I think we're connected again. But yeah, thank you everyone for tuning in. Again, this was our support group because we wanted to talk about Avengers Endgame with people that we care about and people we trust and people we feel safe sharing this with. But again, I want to thank everyone for tuning in, and I want to thank Eris, Lachelle for taking time out of their busy weeks to come here and do the show.
Thank you guys. It was awesome with you guys. Thank you.
Thank you so much. As always, Derek and Juancho, I couldn't do the show without you guys, so thank you so much for coming on and making me feel special every week, and giving us the ability to do this and just have fun. Thank you guys. Oh my word, we're gonna end the show, and I'm gonna do it the way we normally do. Okay, so I'm gonna play down the dramatic music, and we're just gonna end this properly.
Yeah, don't play the Thor music, please. That will get me. You dare.
Oh my gosh. So for Eris, Lachelle, Derek, Juancho, and everyone else from Quit Stalling, thank you everyone for tuning in. We will see you guys next week, hopefully. Same bat time, same bat channel. If we don't get snapped, till then, get off your butts and quit stalling. Bye everybody. Bye.
You guys.